Okay. Okay. Let me pull up my agenda here and we'll get going. Okay. You want to call the roll? I guess Dana and Alex can, give a shout out.
I can attest that they're here.
Yeah, or they can raise their hand. They can raise their hand.
Okay.
Just love it like that.
Commissioner
You like that,
Goldman? Dana? Commissioner Goldman is here. Commissioner Lama is present as well. Commissioner Viscaro?
Here.
Vice Mayor Svechin?
Here.
Mayor Scholl?
Here.
Okay, and for the record, we have 3 members of the commission present in the chambers.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Larissa, you want to lead the pledge since the flag's right behind you there?
Sure.
Okay, stand and.
Ready?
Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the
Pledge
flag
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
United States of America,
and to the republic
Republic,
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Chris, do we have an invocation tonight?
Yes, we do, Mayor. It's Rabbi Callan, and he's
excellent.
online
Okay.
and he's able to just unmute himself and give the invocation.
Hi, everyone.
Alex, how are you?
Doing good. Thank God. How's everyone?
Good. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you. Good to be heard and to see and to hear you all.
Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, the city officials, good evening. We here in Sunny Isles Beach are fortunate to be living in one of the most beautiful and peaceful cities in the world. Halfway around the world, residents of our sister city, Netanya, and millions of citizens of Israel, my Jewish brothers and sisters, and innocent law-abiding cousins, Arab Israeli citizens, are being bombarded indiscriminately by radical and evil Hamas terrorists who will do anything they can to disrupt peace between Jew and Arab, Jew and Muslim. Unlike here in Sunny Isles Beach, where we live in democracy, a city, a state, and a country that preaches and lives by respect and rights for all law-abiding citizens, Hamas terrorists and their benefactors in Iran are trying to destroy our ally and the only beacon of democracy in the entire Middle East. We cannot allow this to happen. We cannot allow the only country in the Middle East that shares our values to be terrorized just because they are Jewish or Arabs who dare to live in coexistence. I invite you all to stand with justice and peace instead of hatred and terror, to make our city an example that all others should follow in promulgating true democratic values of peace and prosperity under the law for all. Let us all join tonight, here and now, in a solemn moment of reflection and prayer, that God Almighty, the Father of all mankind, should bless us with wisdom and strength to stand up for right and to reject the wrong. May God see our efforts and continue to bless us with peace and prosperity at home and for all mankind worldwide. Amen.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you.
Regards to your family and your wife.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All the best to you all.
Okay. What I will do is, since we're still getting hooked up, let's go to the just approval of the minutes. And again, we'll raise a hand. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
So moved.
We got it from the hybrid meeting of April 15th. I have a motion by Vice Mayor. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Viscara. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Aye. Motion carries. Excellent. I'm going to read my opening statement in order of business. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for joining us tonight. Please ensure that your microphone is muted to avoid interrupting the proceedings tonight. Individuals who want to speak on any item on the agenda are asked to use the raise hand function, which can be located by these following steps. If you're using an iPad, tap center of your screen. tap on the three dots located at the top right-hand corner and select Raise Hand. If you're using a desktop, please click on Participants at the bottom of your screen, which opens a side window listing all the participants. And then click on the participant screen, click on the three dots located on the bottom left-hand corner and select Raise Hand. If you called in or dialed in and listening on your phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, and the city clerk will call on you based on the last four digits of your phone number. When called upon, please state your name and address for the record. Speakers may also use the chat function to submit their comments and questions. These chats are only available to the commission, and the host or chair will read it into the record. The chat function is located at the bottom of the screen. Please make sure to type in your name and address for the record. And speakers are asked to speak to the issues, make comments concise and to the point, and refrain from making duplicate comments. All speakers will be limited to 1 3-minute comment per item. If you exceed the 3-minute allotment, the chair will advise you to finish your comment. If you don't adhere to the chair's advice, the microphone will be shut off. Furthermore, if you wish to participate on any given item, your hand must be raised prior to the closing of the public comment portion of the said item. And I'm going to try to be crystal clear about that because I know it's caused some frustration and it's a little bit harder to manage, in the Zoom world, some of this stuff. And, I don't like upsetting people either. So, okay, so we have some changes to tonight's agenda. We have an add-on, which is item 5B, which is the 2021 Florida legislative update. We have item 10K, which is a resolution to approve a project agreement with Craig A. Smith for the Central Island area pump stations and drainage. We have a discussion item 12C regarding beach litter, 12D regarding personnel matters, and 12E regarding ordinance to increase parking meter fees. We have some of our items revised. Item 7B, cover memo for the beach chair regulations ordinance been revised, and 12B, discussion regarding battery recycling program we want to move that to an item after special presentations, which we'll do. So we'll move item 12B then. Finally, we have additional information on item 12G, the purchase and assignment of TDRs. And then we are going to defer item 10J, which is a ratification of a consulting agreement. Do I hear a motion to accept these changes to tonight's agenda? So moved by the Vice Mayor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Viscara. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay. Mauricio, is Commissioner Goldman and Lama, are they online?
Yes, Commissioner Goldman can speak, and so can Commissioner Lama.
Okay. Dana?
Yes, can you hear me?
Do I hear Alex? Yep. Dana, can I hear you? Okay. Just say good evening so I know that I can hear you.
Good evening.
Okay. It's pretty faint. It's pretty faint. Is that?
That's because now can you hear?
I think I'm hearing Dana through somebody else's microphone in the commission chambers.
So too.
Let's be clear. Yeah.
It might be
Can we go
mine.
check it out? Okay. Yeah. So I hear Alex fine. Now, I heard Alex fine, but Dana, you were real faint because I don't think we were getting you through your own microphone. So.
It's through the laptop.
Okay, let's give it a minute because I just want to make sure that everybody can be heard. Okay, I want to say a few words to start. Chief Snyder has tendered his retirement. So I had breakfast with him this morning. I want to congratulate him. He's not leaving right away, so he's giving us some time to run a process and to find a new chief. He's likely gonna leave in the September-October timeframe. But he has been on this force a long time in various capacities. He has served us well, and I'm actually thrilled for him. I'm very happy for him and his family. And like I said, we had breakfast this morning and we talked about it. And I just want everybody to know, like when these things pop up, we're going to run a process, and we're going to go out, basically do a search, and then we could have internal candidates, we could have external candidates, and then we'll run that process. I think by our charter, the way it works now is the city manager will run that search, and then he'll make the recommendation to the commission, and then the commission can thumb up or thumb down the recommendation. So that'll come before us, later in the year. after we run the process. But again, I just, it's a little preemptive, but I want to thank the chief for his service, and I want to congratulate him on his on coming into his retirement years. So that's really all I had this week that I wanted to open with, and so let's move on to special presentations. And Alex, I think we'll let you go first with the legislative update.
You hear me?
Yep, we hear you fine. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. I hear an echo. It's kind of weird. I hear myself.
Yeah, you'll hear yourself. So you have to, because when you're in the commission chambers, it feeds back. So you kind of have to like focus on what you're saying and not listen to the feedback. That happens to me all the time. That's why I wear the headphones.
Okay. All right, perfect. So basically, I just wanted to give a little brief update on what's transpired during the legislative sessions. It's been a very challenging, I think, legislative session. You know, the state legislators meet every year during March and April. And in this particular, year, well, every year, there's bills that try to take away or to chip away at our, local home rule, which basically lets us decide and kind of administrate, what is going on in our own municipality. So there's three bills in particular that came up this year. Again, you had the short-term rental, House Bill 219, Senate Bill 522, which was the related bill, the companion bill. That one thankfully failed. So I just wanted to give an update to our residents on that, because we did bring it up. I think it was in February, and we had a resolution where we passed it in opposition of that bill. So that's one. Then the other one, which came up as well, was a bill titled Relief from Burdens on Real Property Rights. And basically what that bill would have done, if it would have passed, thankfully again it failed, what that bill would have done is that it would have given developers or private property owners the right to sue, to bring a lawsuit to municipalities and other government entities, just based on any resolution or rules or any ordinances that us as a municipality would have passed that they could have deemed, harmful to their property rights. And under the current law, let's say you being a developer want to develop something, you will first have to submit an application. We will have to look at it. And if there's cause for a lawsuit, then you bring the lawsuit. But under this bill, it would have kind of opened up the doors wide open for lawsuits against local government entities. So that one, again, thankfully did not go through. Now there's one that is really worrisome. That's the home-based business. We did have a resolution back in February that we approved in opposition of that one. That one basically gives broader authorities to the state to regulate home-based businesses. Basically, it takes away all of our rights, or most of our rights as a municipality, to regulate any business that opens up in homes. So we're not going to be able to, implement any of our zoning rules, our zoning codes onto that. So just in a short summary, basically eliminate our government ability to issue business licenses, okay? We won't be able to regulate signs, exterior storage, parking, the traffic, the incoming and outgoing traffic of these businesses. It removes our restrictions and our zoning on external modifications, use of equipment, that creates noise or vibration, smoke or heat. So basically, the problem with this, the way I see it, and most of municipalities see it, is that you could have a mechanic shop next to you, a car rental business next to you, or a hair salon. So there's nothing that the city could do, or very little that the city could do. So at this point, it did pass. It's in the hands of Governor DeSantis. And what the Florida League of the Florida League of Cities is doing, and all of like the Miami-Dade League of Cities is doing, is that we're sending letters to the governor to veto this bill because it passed in a very controversial way. I don't know if some of you have read what happened, but in the Senate, 3 of the senators, of the legislators, were not able to record their vote. It's done through a digital means, and it did not record. So they requested for the House to send it back. That was denied, and now it's in the hands of the governor. It passed 19-18. So imagine that, and 3 of the votes were not counted. So I urge everybody, please, to write to the Florida League of Cities, the residents. The more letters we have, these will be sent to the governor. So you could write to Micaela Metcalf, and the email is MEPCALFE@flcities.com. So she is with the Florida League of Cities, and what they're doing is that they're gathering all the letters and they're sending it to the governor, and they're posting it online. So if you could please help us out with that, because it will be very detrimental to our city if that goes through. And that's pretty much it. My update, and I also would like to encourage you to join our commission meetings, please. You could join them via Zoom. You could go to SIBFL.net. They're streamed live. And also, if you want to watch it on your TV, you have Atlantic Broadband. You could watch it on channel 662.
Thank you, Alex. And thanks for the report. It was an active season. And, the irony of it is if we don't watch this stuff carefully, it can creep up on you and they get it through. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the state continues to try to strip us of our rights. I'm not sure why, but it just seems to be, the over, every session seems to be this way, they just,
and it's getting worse. Yeah.
It gets worse. I know it gets more aggressive over time, so I appreciate everybody's lobbying efforts and everybody that's worked on this throughout the year. So, okay. Dana, are you live? And okay, you want to take on 5A, the Mental Health Month proclamation?
Yeah, but first I'd like to mention, in the spirit of a legislative session, there is a new condo legislation. I'll be addressing that in an upcoming workshop, but there's a new condo law, SB 630, and it has some very interesting and sweeping changes to the Condo Act. More on that later. Mauricio, I would like our city clerk to read the proclamation into the record, and then I'll speak for a couple of minutes.
1 second. Okay. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, whereas all Americans face challenges in life that can impact their mental health, especially during the pandemic, whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, whereas there are practical tools that all people can use to improve their mental health and increase resiliency, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, and whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. And whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen share the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental health wellness and support prevention and treatment efforts. And whereas the city encourages the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Sunny Isles Beach to commit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Now, therefore, do I, George H. Scholl, as mayor and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay,
just a couple comments on that. So the purpose of mental Health Awareness Month is to raise awareness and educate the public about mental illnesses, such as the 18% of Americans who suffer from depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder, the realities of living with these conditions, and strategies for attaining mental health and wellness. A couple of data points: 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience serious mental illnesses each year. 1 in 6 U.S. youth aged 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year. 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by age 14 and 75% by age 24. Suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst people aged 10 to 34. So we've had Mental Health Awareness Month in the United States since 1949. If others are struggling with this issue, family especially, in light of COVID and the impacts, it's certainly something where we can raise awareness and destigmatize this item, which is so prevalent and so systemic in our society. That's the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Golden. Important topic, and a topic that often gets overlooked, I think, with a lot of people. So I completely agree. Vice Mayor, you've got an Earth Week challenge.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for moving it to the front. We have quite a few kids and parents on that are very excited about this item. There's an organization called Before It's Too Late. I believe the website is beforeitstoolate.com. And they launched an Earth Week challenge. They lobbied teachers, they advertised to teachers to see if they'd be willing to take on this challenge to work with their students. And every day there was some sort of challenge. Like on Monday was Meatless Monday, Wednesday was Waterless Wednesday, so on and so forth. Friday was Civic Friday. And so they were challenged with reaching out to a local official, elected official, or someone at the city. They reached out to me and they presented me with their ideas. And I was really shocked and pleasantly surprised because Ms. Carmuzzi took this challenge so seriously. She took it to the next step. And these kids, you know, our kids, are so articulate and so passionate. It really is, you have a lot of hope for who's going to be coming up in leadership in our city within just a few years. So I present to you Ms. Carmuzzi, who's here to say a few words. And then because we're on Zoom, normally we'd maybe have the kids here, but instead we film them telling us what they want us to do.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners for allowing us this platform to showcase some of the work that the students have been doing all year long. We are very eco-committed in my classroom, and honestly, as a teacher, we present lessons and assignments to the kids without really knowing how the final product is going to turn out. And as Vice Mayor mentioned, this particular one really took off, and they every day the excitement grew, and I saw that they really took it on as a personal challenge, not only the weekday challenge, but the weekend, and they got family involved. So I know a lot of them are out there watching tonight. They've been sending me messages, so they're excited to be a part of it. And I think the gist of what I want them to take with them, and that's why I'm grateful that you're allowing us this opportunity, is it doesn't matter at what point you start, but you can make a difference, and this opens a lot of opportunities for them to see that here in Sunny Isles especially, we're the city commissioners and the government is accessible to them, and they'll listen to them, and they're young and very excited, and we put together this along with the production team, which was fantastic, by the way. Thank you very much. Some clippings of their work, and we're here to present it to you. As you all know, it's undeniably has been quite a unique school year for us. So anything out of the norm for them, is what I wanted to bring to the classroom, so that I want it to be memorable, but memorable for multiple reasons. Not just that, we had to change the way we teach and the way we do our things, but that in the long run, I want them to look back and see what they accomplished. So thank you so much. And I hope you all enjoy the short video.
Dear Vice Mayor, please help with one essential thing for our Earth. The used batteries are known to be one of the most dangerous things when disposed of improperly. They heavily damage the whole environment, but mostly contaminate our waters. Before COVID-19, there were several sites nearby, like Best Buy, to collect used batteries. As of today, there is none. Please help by talking to waste management companies to take care of this serious problem. We all and the Earth will be very grateful. Arsenio Butcherin and my whole family, including my dog Alex.
Thank you.
People have found it a common habit to act carelessly to our beaches and bays. Even though people have been trying to make others understand, some still can't make themselves want to. Pollution started in the mid-19th century, so we have been collecting trash for many years. Volunteers have picked up millions of pounds of trash. People had passed the Clean Air Act and Clean Water Act. So let's go deeper. If no one ever noticed pollution, we would not survive. So what can we do? We can plan activities so people help Earth and have fun. We can plan Saturday beach cleanups with a reward of a clean, trash-free beach. Fruit day or vegetable day can be also fun. Like I love dragon fruit and celery. Maybe daily trips to places where you could talk to leaders like mayors or vice mayors about problems Earth has, maybe on news. And it'll be great if Earth Day can become Earth Month. It may also be good if you contribute to Earth in daily life like my family. Earth will be very grateful to you.
What can we do? People throw their trash on the ground with no care when there's a trash can across the street and that trash goes into the sewer, which leads to the ocean.
A normal family of 2, 3, 4, or 5 people, it doesn't matter. Families throw away at least 5 tons of trash a year. As landfills get more trash, the trash could end up in water and travel anywhere. My plan to stop this overflowing of trash is to divide a normal trash can into 3 parts. Normal trash, recyclable trash, and types of metal. With this, we can save some trash and not overflow landfills, and we could save pollution from this earth.
So thank you. I just wanted to mention this all really started with one little boy, Arsenio, whose idea about the batteries. I thought, well, you know what? Here's someone that has a very good idea about how we can solve for it. So I kind of wanted to be a little bit of a discussion item because I thought that perhaps we can address Walgreens, and I'd be happy to do that, and CVS, and get them to return the battery recycling boxes, because after all, they're the ones making money off the batteries, and they know how to dispose of them much better than anyone else. So again, this was just 3rd graders, by the way, that had, found the problem, found the solution, and knew who to speak to about getting something done. So I want to applaud them again. I want to applaud the principal, the assistant principals, and of course, Ms. Carmuzzi. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Carmuzzi. Thank you very much. The kids are great. That's
They
great.
are. They really are. This has been a wonderful group, and because of the circumstances, there is a connection this year that's different than other years, and I must say I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great video, and nothing better to see the kids get engaged at a young age, especially in good causes. So, yeah. Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to our first zoning item, which would be item 6A. Mauricio?
Yes, Mayor. I'll just read the zoning preamble very quickly. In accordance with the LDRs of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, all notices regarding this item have been posted on the properties and have been mailed to the surrounding properties as well. All those that will be speaking, I will be swearing you in momentarily. And let me just bring them on really quickly, Mayor. Give me 1 second. We have Nathan Kazan, who is the attorney for the developer, and Claudia Hasbun, our Development Services Director. Mr. Kazan, is there anyone else on your team that will be speaking as well? They would need to be sworn in.
I think I'll be the only person speaking. There
Okay.
are architects who may, if there are questions, the architects I think are online and can be asked questions, but they're not planning to present.
Okay, I would just ask them that if there are questions for them to just raise their hand so I can find them and bring them on screen when the time comes. Okay, Mr. Kazan, can you just raise your right arm, please? Do you swear that testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And Claudia, if you can just turn on your camera. You're ready to go. And while Claudia is getting set up, Mayor, I just need to ask, are there any ex-parte communications for this item?
Anyone? I had no conversations with Neeson or the applicant on this issue. So, okay.
Very well. Okay, Claudia is coming on.
Okay,
right
Claudia. I see Claudia coming on.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yep, a little bit better now. That's good. So, okay, Claudia, all yours.
Okay, thank you. Mauricio, one more question. Can we hear item 10G along with this application as well?
Yes, absolutely. I'll read it into the record. Give me 1 second. Item 10G is a resolution approving the purchase and assignment of transfer of development rights in the amount of 11,861 square feet of floor area ratio and 5 dwelling units from a private TDR bank account of NDPRE number 14 LLC as the assignor and 2A3 Development LLC as the assignee.
Thank you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant A3 Development LLC is requesting a modification of the approved site plan pursuant to resolution number 14Z-144 adopted on September 18, 2014, resolution number 15-C-153 adopted on April 16, 2015, resolution number 18C-165 adopted on April 19, 2018, and resolution number 19C-173 adopted on November 21, 2019. Under this application, the applicant is requesting a decrease in density of 1 residential dwelling unit. The decrease will be from 246 total residential units to 245 residential units, and there will be 153 units in the South Tower and 92 dwelling units in the North Tower. Subsequent to this decrease in density, the applicant is seeking to reduce the parking requirements from 532 parking spaces to 530 parking spaces. In addition with this, the applicant is requesting an density increase, is meaning FAR, square footage of the overall floor area ratio from the building, which is equal to 1,179,384 square feet of floor area ratio to an increase of 1,191,245 square feet of floor area ratio through the city's Transfer Development Rights Program. Pursuant to resolution number 2018-2840, the TDRs that we're going to be selling this evening, if they're sold, they're going to be from the Navarro private TDR account, and therefore the transfer is going to be through the city to Navarro. The applicant is requesting a total purchase of 11,861 square feet of FAR and 5 dwelling units. However, the applicant is seeking to assign the 11,861 square feet of area ratio and only 0 dwelling units to the project. Therefore, the 5 unused dwelling units, they will be extinguished. With this analysis, the application is consistent with our comprehensive plan and with our local land development regulations. With that said, we don't have any issues with this application if the applicant accepts all the comments that we have provided during the staff report.
So Claudia, before Neeson speaks, can you just tell everybody in English what's going on here? Is basically simply because, you know, it sounds complicated. It's not very complicated, but, you know, we just went through a lot of legalese and a lot of hieroglyphics in zoning speak. But if you could just explain what's happening, it would be great. Thank you.
Sure. So we did that just for the record. So now in plain English, basically the applicant came to the city and it's enclosing some additional balconies so they can add added space within their units. They're not adding more units, they're just enclosing an area that used to be part of a terrace. And in order to increase that square footage as considered for floor area ratio, they have to do it through our Transfer Development Rights Program, through that additional square footage. So basically the building, the footprint, it stays the same, nothing else is changing. They're just enclosing, as I said, terraces that are already part of the regional footprint of these dwelling units.
That's great, because the word balcony never came into the original description, so thank you. Thanks for the clarity. Okay, Neeson, I think she just made it easy for you. Go ahead.
Yes, she did. Mayor and members of the commission, good evening. Neeson Katz and Ackerman LLP representing A3 Development. The applicant, it's a pleasure to see you all. With the translation that you asked Claudia to provide at the end, she took my whole speech away from me. So in addition to her detailed description, there's nothing more that I really have to add. But for one moment, if we can share the screen, I would like, whoops. They're
going to have to enable it.
Yeah, but would you enable the screen sharing, please, so we can present?
It's enabled. Is it under your name or is it someone else's account?
You see it?
Yes.
Okay. As the planning director mentioned, we're reducing 1 unit. We're increasing by almost 12,000 square feet the north tower by enclosure of the balconies to add additional bedrooms because there's demand for larger units. And in order to provide for that, we are acquiring 11,861 square feet of TDRs at a price of $125 per square foot. That site plan modification, as well as the approval of the sale of TDRs and assignment, is before you this evening. Next slide, please. This just shows you briefly. This is the what the the west face of the north tower looks like in the originally approved plans. And the next slide shows you how portions of that terrace are being enclosed to create additional bedrooms. And that is our presentation. So we'd ask for your favorable vote on both of those items.
Any questions from the commission for Claudia or for the applicant? Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question regarding the parking. By adding additional bedrooms, are you considering if you're going to need additional parking for those units?
Basically, how the code reads, it's not dependent on the number of bedrooms, it's dependent on the size of the unit, so it is the square footage. In this case, none of the units are under 1,800 square feet. So all the units that require 2 parking spaces. And this change or increase, it wouldn't trigger anything because they are within the code already.
And then one more question. How many units are going to be enclosing their terraces?
We have, give me 1 second, let me just take a look at here. It's a total of 163 units.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Just so, the other twist to this is that, so item, I think it's 10G, basically, when we made a business deal to buy the Navarro property where the Navarro pharmacy sits, we were able to defer the payment for that under the guise that as we sell TDRs, that the TDR funds would go to pay down what we owe on the Navarro property. So with COVID and with all the things that happened, you know, we didn't sell TDRs as fast as we thought we would. So needless to say, this is one of the first TDR sales that we've had in a while because we haven't had any new development activity. So by virtue of our agreement with the seller of the Navarro property, which is the Navarro family, the TDR money that actually comes from this is going to pay down part of our obligation for that Navarro site. That's where item 10G comes in, just so there's no ambiguity. And ultimately, there's a trigger that if we don't have the TDR sales by a certain time frame, we pay them over a period of years for cash. But this is why this item has got 10G attached to it, just so we're crystal clear. Okay, with no other comments, I'll take a motion.
Public.
Ed, you have something to say?
Public comment.
I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm way ahead of myself. Okay. Do we have any public comments, Mauricio?
None, Mayor, not for this item.
Okay. Public hearing is closed. Thank you, Ed. Okay. Do I hear a motion? Motion by the Vice Mayor. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Lama. Voice vote. I'm sorry. Mauricio.
It's a roll call.
Roll call. Yeah.
Commissioner Goldman?
Yes.
For the record, she voted yes. Commissioner Lama? Commissioner Lama also voted yes. Vice Mayor Svetchin?
Yes.
Commissioner Viscara?
Yes.
Mayor Scholl?
Yes.
The application is approved 5-0.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Neeson.
Thank you.
And this includes both items 6A and 10G, this resolution.
That's correct. So this is we voted on item 6A and 10G. We combined them in the beginning.
Thank you very much. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Neeson. Okay, take care. Okay, that's it for our zoning matter tonight, and we have some ordinances for first reading. So we're going to move on to item 7A. Mauricio?
7A is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 156 of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances entitled Fees Miscellaneous, repealing and replacing Attachment A entitled City of Sunny Isles Beach Building Department Fee Schedule with the revised fee schedule attached as Attachment A, eliminating the Chief Building Official's authority to administratively waive the applicable building department permit fees for construction or improvements to city-owned property or projects located in the city, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. And this is first.
Ed, I think this, I think you're up on this.
City manager, I believe.
Yes.
Sorry, okay.
We're going
City
around
attorney.
here.
Sorry about that.
Clay is actually going to make some comments, and Paola is going to give you a rundown of the fee schedule that we are talking about. As you recall from the last meeting, there was two questions. One was the comparability on the higher end, on the high rises, and the other was, can we bring down the lowest level of work for our median and lower income people in the city? Well, the $25 rule on the minimum permit, that was easy. What we also did, substantially is bring down what is the majority of our permits for the average, working people who live mostly on the west side. So from 50,000 down to 1,000, we substantially lowered those fees. And I'm just summarizing, and I'll let Clay say a few words, and Paola can just run through this briefly. And we also are still well below the average of the key 4 communities that do high-rise construction, which is Miami Beach, Coral Gables, and Aventura was thrown in as our neighbor also. So I'm going to let Clay say a few words and then turn it over to Paola. Now, Clay is out of town and on this by Zoom. I just want to make sure he's on without any problems. Go ahead.
That's impressive, Clay. Okay. There we go.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Commission. Yes, the following in-depth review of the existing fee schedule and recommendations made by JRD and Associates, it is recommended that the City Commission approves this amending Chapter 156 of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances to repeal and replace the existing fee schedule with Exhibit A. It was also noted that Section 156-1 of the city's Code of Ordinances refers to the building fee schedule as exhibit. However, it is referred to as a Code of Ordinances as an attachment. Therefore, it's recommended the reference to exhibit also be corrected. And Mauricio already covered the building official authorization part of it. I just want to say that the assessment and process for new structure JRD of the and building department staff established 3 overall objectives: to ensure the fee charges are fair and for customers while the city is able to recover the fully burdened costs of the services provided. These costs include all operation and indirect support costs incurred by other departments supporting permit-related services. Simplicity and transparency is concise and is easy to understand. It is concise and easy to understand both the customer and the city. And we want to create the building reserve to include project revenue based on proposed for fee structure, anticipated permit activity, as well as comparative benchmarking analysis. The comparative analysis conducted to determine how the city's existing fees and JRD's proposed fees compared to the fees charged by the comparable municipalities of Miami-Dade, which we've provided a chart for you to see. We've compared 4 cities in Miami-Dade County. And as you can see, our current fee schedule, our current fees are much lower than anyone else in the county. And this is kind of, it's kind of the way we've tried to project our, we've tried to stay on the low end of the permit fees collected throughout the county because, we've only ever tried to just collect the fees required for our administrative inspections and that. And it's been good through the years. Now that we have the new state statutes coming up, it's going to require all the cities to adjust their fee schedules. I think we're already in a good position. This latest adaptation that JRD is proposing, I think will keep us in that realm, and we're going to help the majority of the citizens of Sunny Isles Beach by lowering their rates on the from 0 to 50,000 in remodeling. It's going to lower them considerably. We're going to have to see how this works out. It'll take some time to see if the high-end development subsidizes for what we're given to the low-end development. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, Clay. Thank you. Paola, did you want to say something before we take questions?
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners. I just wanted to briefly go over the permitting fee comparison table that we created, where you can better appreciate what the changes that we did to our fee schedule really bring about. So just to give you an example, currently a person that comes to our building department and pulls a permit for $1,000, their permitting fee currently is $175. With the new fee schedule, this fee is going to be reduced to a $25 fee that you suggested the last time that our consultant came and gave the presentation. And so that actually reduces our fee by 86%. That's going to help, the people that come with a small job, that's going to help them a lot. Then it also reduces in the other categories, as Clay was talking. A $5,000 project currently pays $615 for permits. They will be paying $137.50. That's a 78% reduction. $10,000, they currently pay $790. They will be paying $275. That's also a 65% reduction. With the $50,000 permitting fee, they will have a 17% reduction. $100,000, they will have a 12% reduction. So basically, up to the $100,000 mark, they're getting a reduction in their permitting fees. We also, as Clay mentioned, we made a comparison with 4 cities. For the high-rise development, we compare with cities that have the high-rise development just as we do. We came to an average of their permitting fees. It's $2.9 million. Our permitting fee with our new proposed fee schedule will be lower than that. It will be $2.3 million. So we're still down from the comparable municipalities. So we feel that we'll be in a good position. Again, as Clay mentioned, we have to give this a try, see if this is gonna work, and hopefully it works. If not, we're gonna see you next year. We hope we don't have to see you next year, but if we have to, we'll come before you and let you know how it went. Thank you.
Thank you, Pal and Clay, and thank you for thanks to you and the consultants for basically hearing us on the, because what you never want is the process to be prohibitive to the likelihood of somebody complying, and this is what happens sometimes with permitting, where the process is onerous and then people don't want to comply. In this case, if it's costly, the more economical it is, the more likely people will comply. And I think in our city, being so full of condos, it's really important people comply, because when you do illegal work in your condo and something goes wrong, it's not just affecting your unit. One thing is if I burn my house down, it's my house. But when you have an issue in a building, it's a halo effect on the people around you and potentially the entire building. So I think it's important, that we recognize that. Mauricio, are there any comments from the public on this?
No, Mayor, none for this item.
Okay, so the public hearing is closed. Does the commission have any questions or comments for Clay or Paola? Okay, Dana?
So, press.
Can't hear her.
Oh, can you hear me or?
Can't hear her.
Dana, you have to come off mute.
Okay, I'm off of mute. So I want to thank Clay, Paola, Chris, because we went through some intellectual rigor on this topic, because internally we had a lot of discussion in the last couple of days about not giving these fees in a vacuum, but giving a comparison. So I think chart, and I think that's been a very effective way of presenting this. I am hopeful that, as Paola, as you had discussed yesterday, that you will continue to enforce this idea that this type of a permit schedule will be attached to all, so we have full and fair disclosure for all permitting activities. The only wish list, as you know, I've espoused yesterday, was hopefully at the $50,000 mark we can do a little bit better, squeeze, work the numbers a little bit, so we really hit a higher savings portion on the $50,000 mark. But otherwise, I'm pleased to see that we have transparency and we have a good metrics for this going forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Okay, Jennifer.
I think obviously we talked about this last month. This is going to benefit our residents tremendously. And we're doing it in the spirit to encourage compliance. But that's not going to happen unless we let people know. So we have to put the word out there. It's not just here, not just today, and then leave it on paper. We have to, make a campaign and let people know so that, so that compliance incentive actually happens. So I would just hope that we put the word out there. The sooner the better.
Great. Thanks, Jennifer. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to quickly say exactly, Commissioner Viscar, if you want someone to do something, you got to make it easy for them. And that's exactly what we need to do. And I think it's going to work really, really well. So I applaud the staff for doing this so quickly. Thank you, Paul, Chris, everyone, obviously.
Alex, you want to play cleanup? Nope, we can't hear you. You're on mute, Alex.
Hear me now?
Yep, now we can hear you.
Just want to thank the staff that worked on this and thank everybody that gave their input on this project. I think it does make it a lot easier to visualize and to understand. And now the next step is to communicate it so our residents can see the benefit to them and also can see the benefit in the long term. Because, I mean, I live in a condo that, like you said, Mayor, one little mistake can have a great, effect on negative effect on the rest of the apartments around it. So, yes, I applaud everybody that worked on this, and I'm glad that this is being implemented. Thank you.
Okay, Alex, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to move.
Okay, second by the Vice Mayor. And Mauricio, roll call.
Commissioner Lama? For the record, he voted yes. Vice Mayor Svechin?
Yes.
Commissioner Viscara?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldman? For the record,
Yes.
she voted yes as well. Mayor Schultz?
Yes.
The order is on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for June 17th.
Mayor, I'd just like to
Thank you,
say
Paolo.
one thing. Mayor, I want to thank, this was difficult, to say the least. I want to thank George Duyos and his team. George has been with the city since the beginning. This is, I think, his third or fourth study he's done for us regarding building department, staffing, fees, and everything. And I want to thank the building department tremendously. I know this has been a lot of work, especially on Clay and Paula to make this happen. And George Duyos and his team, I want to thank especially on it.
Great, thank you. And Clay and Paola, thank you. This is another testament to the longevity of staff. Clay has been around as long as I can remember. And, I don't want to speak to Paola because that might comment on somebody's age. But they've both been around a while. And the fact is, there's a lot of institutional knowledge there about, the challenges that we faced over the years. But I think, I've always been an advocate of let's keep it consumer friendly. The commercial development kind of understands the ground rules in developing and what costs are. But the average consumer, they come in for a permit to hang a ceiling fan. It shouldn't cost more than the ceiling fan. I've said that many times. So Clay and Paola, I really appreciate, I think the whole commission appreciates, as they've indicated, what you guys have done here. And I know that the residents will appreciate it, over time. So thank you. And hopefully we won't have to see you next year on this issue. So we'll see. Okay, thanks again. Okay, we move on to item 7B.
7B is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending sections 108-9, permit required, and 108-10, permit conditions of Chapter 108 of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances entitled Beaches to increase the permit application fee. Provided that the placement of beach chairs and equipment shall be pursuant to the beach chair pre-setting diagram issued by the city as a condition of permit approval. Amending section 108-13, penalties for offenses, to provide for increased penalties for violations, including suspension of a permit upon a third violation. providing that owners shall not be entitled to any refund of the permit fee as a result of a permit suspension, providing for an appeal process for any decisions related to the suspension or denial of a permit, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. And this is first reading.
Okay, Claudia?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, this ordinance being presented due to some issues that we have encountered throughout the beach area. So the beach placement of chairs, it is an allowance that we provide to beachfront properties to preset an area with private chairs, basically. And we have encountered recent and increased amount of complaints because certain areas, they go beyond this area that is being allowed to preset. So with this ordinance, what we are proposing is increase also the time and the effort that it costs the staff to process these permits. We currently charge $25 per year to process these permits, and we're proposing to increase it to $150 per year. And the other aspect is, since whenever we encounter these type of violations, they are kind of in nature, they're irreparable and irreversible. And we wanted to make sure that we have the proper tools to initiate code violations against these properties. So they're following the rules and they maintain for the safety and for the usage of the public, to the public in general. So there is going to be an increase on penalties and violations from the current fee that we have presented.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. So, basically, we've had a lot of issues with the beach chairs and people overstepping their boundaries and even giving the public a difficult time when they want to walk around them. So I think this has given the staff some more tools to kind of up the volume a little bit for compliance, which I think is a good thing. So are there any comments from the public on this, Mauricio?
We do have 2 comments, Mary.
Okay. You're on mute, Mauricio. If you're reading comments, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I had them here, and of course, like everything, it just disappeared on me. 1 second.
So when are we going to live?
Not soon enough.
That's something we could all agree on. I'm so over this.
Can we kind of reiterate that this is happening next month, that we're going live next month? Yeah. I don't see any reason why we can't.
I think we're going to try. I do. I think we're going to try next month. So.
Okay. So the first comment comes from Lana, Lana, 2841 Northeast 163rd Street, apartment 202. Her comment is, since Sunny Isles Beach became incorporated, the officials have kowtowed to developers, giving up all defense mechanisms residents have against reckless overdevelopment. This boom enveloped and disfigured our coast along with such inflicting environmental damage to our beaches, setting their sights on controlling our beach with little recourses. Oceanfront residencies have grossly exaggerated allotted beachfront area, encroaching on and threatening surrounding public beach patrons in hopes of an early departure, crying this area as well. And the final comment comes from
Mauricio, excuse me, Mauricio, just for a second, that might not have been clear. She's in favor of the motion of the ordinance.
She's in favor of the ordinance, yes.
Yeah, she's in favor of the ordinance, and I think the whole point is we're trying to give the staff some more tools to basically administer her concerns. So I think we're all in agreement. Go ahead, Mauricio.
Okay, and the final comment is from Michael O'Connell. Address is 17125 North Bay Road. He's also in favor. And his comment is, every weekend I see more beachfront condos putting up ropes and other obstacles to block off large sections of public beachfront. They place their beach loungers as close as 10 feet from the ocean so non-tenants can use the beach in front of the condos. Especially egregious violations occur at Jade Ocean. I called and emailed the city and have never seen an enforcement and was told that they were warned regularly but ignore all warnings. That's all, Mayor.
Okay. Public hearing is closed. Any comments from the commission before we vote?
Yes, I've certainly received.
Quite a bit of comments.
She muted herself.
I've received comments recently. I think that this is a way, the city, and of course, I've shared these comments from residents to city staff, Claudia, Chris, and I think this is, again, a way to kind of level the playing field and give some opportunity, give some parity and equity, I think, to our residents who live in the city but don't necessarily have beachfront property.
Commissioner Vizcarra.
Two things. Number one, the beach is public. It's intended to where the hotels and beachfront properties can put their chairs, not where people can go. The beach is public and people can go wherever people can go. And I have two edits, which I've already submitted, but I understand I have to put it on the record. One of them is in the fourth whereas clause, just inserting the word improper in the improper placement of beach chairs and equipment, and the other one, 108.13 B1, at the end of the clause, just putting the owner shall not be entitled to any refund of the fee paid for permit for any portion of the expired term of a permit once the permit is suspended. So that last, once the permit is suspended, would be my recommended edit. That's already been emailed. I'm just putting it on the record, and that's all I got.
Any other comments, Vice Mayor?
I want to say this is another example of residents reaching out and getting involved and making a difference. This has been a topic of discussion for quite a while. I want to call out Patrick Dunn from Golden Shores, who met with myself and Chris and Claudia, and we brainstormed, and the issue was you can fine somebody as much as you want, but if they can keep doing it, they'll just pay the small fine. And ultimately, the city is not obligated to give these permits. So you can take them away, meaning you, us as the residents, us as the city. And as Commissioner Vizcarra said, this is the public beach. So their permit is just to put their chairs out beforehand. So it's the placement of the chairs before anyone gets there. It doesn't mean that you can't sit, right next to them. Not that you would want to, but the point is that the beach is for all of us to enjoy, for all of us to share. And if some of us can't play by the rules, then they don't get to put them out in the mornings like they expect to. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Patrick, and all the residents that have contacted all of us with this concern.
Anyone else, Alex? Do you have anything to add?
Yes, just wanted to say I agree with my colleagues, even the edits, Jennifer. So yes, this is great moving forward. I hope that this mitigates a lot of the issues that we've been seeing as commissioners. We've all been getting contacted by residents. And the funny thing too is that, I've gotten received emails from residents in these buildings thinking that the beach is not public, thinking that the beach belongs to the buildings, the Jade, etc. So yes, the beach is public here in Florida. So we just gotta work it out and mitigate any issues. So thank you very much for doing this.
So I'm gonna tag on with a real life example. So as many of you all know, my daughter had a baby in February. So my son-in-law has been here from Italy. As most of you know, she married a Sicilian and she lives in southern Italy most of the year. So my son-in-law was walking the beach the other day, and the other night he said to me, "Oh, I got to Golden Beach and I saw the sign." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I didn't realize that the Golden Beach was private." I said, "It's not private." He said, "Well, I saw the sign." well, that sign looks pretty onerous when you look at the sign. You know, the sign has got a lot of language in it, and he assumed that sign was like, keep out, you know, and that's really kind of what that sign is meant to infer, as we all know. And I said, no, you can walk the beach. So I saw him when I got home last night. He goes, oh, and I walked all the way north. I walked all the way to Hollandale and back, you know, and it was a nice walk along Golden Beach. But so the point is that, you know, I think quite often some of the parties that be, you know, try to want us to believe that the beach is private, and they will, you know, and they'll make waves, you know, to that effect. So I'm glad that we got to give staff some tools, and I agree with everyone that, you know, unless there's some onerous teeth to the enforcement, people will just blow by it. I don't know how many times I've heard, you know, somebody wants to have a crazy party or something and says, I'll pay the fines. You know, well, it's not about the fines. It's about adhering to what you're supposed to do. You know, and I've gotten that a lot. I've gotten that when people call me because, you know, we're trying to shut down, you know, Ultra North in somebody's backyard, you know, and they just say, well, we'll pay the fines, as if that mitigates the problem, and it doesn't. So the point is, you know, when the fines get prohibitive, or when the enforcement action, to your point, being able to pull the permit, Vice Mayor, like you said, you know, being able to pull the permit gets prohibitive, then people start to pay attention. And sometimes that's what we have to do. So thank you. I think we've, you know, pretty much nailed this one. So Commissioner Vizcarra, why don't you make the motion with your, you know, subject to your changes?
Motion to approve, subject to my edits.
Okay. Do I hear a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Mauricio, you want to call the roll?
Vice Mayor Svetchin?
Yes.
Commissioner Vizcarra?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldman?
Yes.
Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Mayor Scholl?
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for June 17th.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, we move on to item 9A, our ordinance for second reading.
9A is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending ordinance number 2020-556, approving budget amendment number BA 2021-01 to the city's operating and capital improvement budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. The General Fund, Street Maintenance and Construction Fund, Building Fund, Public Art Trust Fund, Capital Projects Fund, Stormwater Fund, and Stormwater Capital Fund. Authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement the terms and conditions of this ordinance, providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading. And Tiffany, our finance director, will be reporting on this. Give me 1 second. Whenever you're ready, Tiffany.
Okay, you got to come off mute, Tiffany. There we go. And come off mute, and we're ready for action. We can see you, but we can't hear you yet. Bottom left of your, there you go. Bottom, that's it. How are you?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commission. This budget amendment is needed to record fund balance, PO, and capital project carryovers, as well as various transfers between funds and departments. You have the specific details in the budget amendment documentation.
Thank you, Tiffany. Mauricio, are there any public comments on the budget amendment changes?
No, Mayor, none for this.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Are there any comments from the commission for this second reading? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Vizcarra, seconded by Commissioner Lama. Mauricio, roll call.
Commissioner Vizcarra?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldman?
Yes.
Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Svetchin?
Yes.
Mayor Scholl?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, that's it for our ordinances and our zoning matter, and we're going to move on to resolutions, and we'll start with item 10A.
10A is resolution directing the city manager or designee to enter into an agreement or agreements with the University of Miami Nova Southeastern University Center for Autism and Related Disabilities for a citywide autism and neurodiverse inclusion program at no cost to the city.
Commissioner Viscara.
Right. Well, we talked about this last month, and we were all in agreement. This is the formalized version, in terms of the resolution. But just to refresh everybody's memory, or those who didn't tune in, this is basically for the city of Sunny Isles Beach and the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. They wish to collaborate with one another to establish a citywide program focused on ASD and neurodiverse inclusion. And in English, that just means collaborating with one another to create programs and education and other resources to help people on the spectrum and families with children on the spectrum or adults on the spectrum, have a more inclusive experience in our city. And that can mean educational programs, that can mean signage on a playground, or different equipment in certain parts of the city. And it is at no cost to the city. So this is a free program that we're lucky to have been able to participate in. Or we will participate in. And it also leaves open the possibility for the police department to enhance their current training in the same way. And that has the extra benefit of knowing how to engage with people on the spectrum who may not react to adversity in the same way as a traditional, the typical person. That can lead to very bad consequences. So it's nothing new from last month, other than it's formalized, and that's it. So thank you for your support.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Viscara, for bringing this, raising awareness of this issue. Mauricio, is there any public comment on this item?
Yes, Mayor, we have a Sophia LaChapelle that will like to speak. Give me 1 second. Sophia, whenever you're ready, you just need to unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be in this item. First, congratulate this 10A. It's been calling for autistic and neurodiversity included in the city of Sunny Isle, which is an amazing news for me. By the way, I'm a newscaster and a mom of 2 autistic kids. And for the last 10 years, I've been working with the Latino community in USA and 10 countries in Latin America. So this is good news. And I really want to congratulate. I also would like to mention very briefly that I would like to extend an invitation for everybody in this meeting to look at the Autism Park at Tamiami Trail that was inaugurated back in 2017 by former Major Major Jimenez, And one of the things I would like to see, that was a proposal that I presented to the mayor back in 2017. We would like to see if Sunny Isle City can replicate something similar for families. It will impact the lives not only of the person on the spectrum, also the whole family, brothers and sisters. And one of the biggest issues is that families on the spectrum, they don't have public services or areas that they feel included. And in the future, moving on, then also would like to be part of this amazing project. My strength, and for the last 10 years, I've been working with families, supporting the families, and not only locally, also, like I said, abroad, 10 different countries. And Latinos, basically, because, yes, I've been in the board of Autism Speaks. I was on the board of Best Bodies. And I've realized that the diversity is also important. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Mauricio, are there any other comments?
Yes, we have Jerry and Jody Joseph. 1 second. Jerry or Jody, go ahead and just unmute yourself, please. And your name and address for the record.
Northern Shores. Hi, Jennifer. I was just wondering what program you're speaking about, because I had, we spoke about this last month, and I contacted the captain, and we had a conversation, and he had requested some email. I sent him an email with Terry Becerra's information, and he was interested. And she's been really busy because she's just all over doing the training with the fire department, with the police stations. So I don't know if this is just someone else. To me, the more the merrier. Or are you referring to Terry, who Captain Snyder had spoken with?
No, this is the card program that's run through UM and Nova. It's separate from the person that you're speaking with, but I agree with you. The more the merrier. I agree with you.
Great. Yeah, because he had her bio, and even the young lady that was just speaking, I'm sure she heard of Terry as well. It's just amazing what she does. As I said last month, her son is nonverbal, and he goes in with the fire department, and they put him on. I mean, it's just so extensive, and it's really amazing. So I'll follow up with the chief regarding that. If I don't know if you haven't heard anything, but thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. Thank you.
You're muted.
Sorry, I flipped the wrong way. Mauricio, any other comments?
No, Mayor, that's all for this item.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Any other comments from the commission before we take a motion? Vice Mayor.
Quickly, I just want to commend Commissioner Viscara. She started this a long time ago when she was on the Citizens Advisory Committee, and she stuck with it. And we've certainly all seen in the news where there have been horrific things happen when the police or anyone encounters someone on the spectrum, not understanding how to manage that situation. And I think that would be great. And I know, in fact, Susan had, well, this is a while ago now, had already been looking into playground equipment that was specifically for children that are on the spectrum. So this is something the city has been actively looking into for a while, but I appreciate Commissioner Viscara making it official like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually started this conversation with Susan, but then this thing COVID happened, and it just derailed everything. And so I'm just happy to be able to bring it back. And I wanted to also mention, I happen to know that the speaker, Sophia Lechpel, she also has a radio program for, I think it's called the Faces of Autism, that she had invited us when we're ready, that we can possibly be.
That's great.
In there also, so they get the word out. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other comments before we take a motion?
Yeah, I wanted to thank Commissioner Viscara as well. Yeah, I wanted to thank Commissioner Viscara as well. I'm very happy that it's coming to fruition. I know she put in a lot of time into this and work, so I applaud you. Thank you.
Great. Okay, do I hear a motion? So moved by the Vice Mayor. Second by Commissioner Lama. All in favor? Aye. Aye. For the record, I saw 5 hands and some ayes. So motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 10B.
10B is a resolution awarding invitation to bid number 210302 and approving an agreement with Academy Bus LLC for motor coach transportation services. And this is a report from our Culture Community Services Director, Sylvia Flores, and she is coming on right now.
Sylvia.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commission. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. This item, back in April, the city issued an invitation to bid for motor coach transportation services. This is primarily for our summer camp program, in addition to winter break and spring break camps. We wanted to make sure that this was in place because our previous contract was expiring now in June. As of right now, we don't intend to use the buses this summer. As of right now, we don't have field trips in place for this summer. We're still doing a modified summer care program. However, we wanted to make sure that we had this contract in place and ready to go moving forward. So Academy was the most responsible bidder. We've used them for the past 5 years. We've been very satisfied with their services. And so this agreement would be to enter into a 2-year initial term for approximately, well, not to exceed $60,000 per year, and with options to renew moving forward if we continue to be satisfied with their services.
Very good. Thank you, Sylvia. Mauricio, any public comment on 10B?
No, Mayor.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Any comments from the commission on item 10B? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll move.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Goldman, second by Commissioner Lama. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 10C, Mauricio.
10C is a resolution approving change order number 8 to the agreement with Nunez Construction for the Gateway Park Center project. And this is a report from our city engineer, Rick Lubinsky. Rick, I am asking you to start the video and to unmute yourself.
Okay, we got him off mute. Now we got him on the screen. All right, Rick.
Everybody good?
Everybody's good. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and staff. This is a change order for the Gateway Center project. We're doing a door upgrade. We've got 7 doors there. They're not ADA acceptable to us. They were part of the original shell construction. And what we want to do is change them out, make them ADA compatible, and also allow them to work with our security system that we want to have in place as far as controlling access in and out of the building. It also includes some fire alarm work we had to do in the elevators to get our TCO approved, and also some filter change outs for the AC system. Any other questions, I'd be glad to explain.
Yep. Mauricio, any public comments on this item?
No, Mayor, none.
Okay, public hearing's closed. Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, I have a question.
So with this gateway, again, I ask, as I've repeatedly, I'm sorry.
You're on mute, Dana.
I got it. As I repeatedly asked, how long will this installation take, and are we on schedule to get this opened already? I mean, Gateway Park opening?
Unfortunately, the schedule for the change out of the doors is probably 4 to 5 months to get till we get it done, due to the availability of the door product. They're having, apparently doors and glass is a tight commodity right now. So there's a back delay in ordering that. As far as the center goes, we have the TCO. We're going through final punch list items. I'm not controlling the opening times. That's through the Parks Department, but we're very close for opening for general operations.
So in other words, the installation of this door will not impede the opening of Gateway Park, correct?
Correct.
And on any of these fire system upgrades, I guess my question is, why wasn't this part of the original specs for the gateway? So
well, the fire system had to do with the elevators and the old building, and it wasn't part of the new building. So what happened is when we went through all the permit process, and you may recall we did a fire alarm adjustment a couple months back because the fire department came out, and when they realized the center is part of the overall building, they said we had to upgrade the overall building. And through that process, we had some issues with the elevator shafts and sensors in the elevators that previously were not required, but we had to add in. So there was some of that cost. But right now, the center itself is pretty much complete. We're just punching out some completed items here, and these doors won't affect whether we open or not open. It'll affect the operation a little bit, but not whether or not you want to use the building.
that's helpful. Thank you.
Commissioner, if I can add to that a little bit, we are planning to have a a soft grand opening, and we're testing out some rooms right now, and we're looking forward to bringing in a couple of our smaller programs in there probably by next month.
That's good news. I'm sure a lot of people are waiting in line for that opening.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and just for clarity, remember, this was going to be a restaurant owned by a third party. So, and then, when the restaurant originally, when it was, under, years past, it was going to be a restaurant and a restaurant lease. And so I think what we're seeing is kind of the aftermath, some of the aftermath of the conversion to a full-time municipal use. So, any other comments from the commission? Okay. Can I hear a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Goldman, second by Commissioner Lama. All in favor? Aye. Aye, I see. Motion carries 5-1, and we move on to item 10D. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
5D is a resolution approving the purchase of H-frame outriggers for the city's bucket truck from Altec Industries pursuant to Sourcewell contract number 012418-ALT. And this is a report from our Public Works Superintendent, Fabricio Volpe. 1 second, Mayor.
Okay. I like bucket trucks.
Fabricio, whenever you're ready.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and staff. The Public Works Department is seeking for the approval to purchase an H-frame outrigger for the city's bucket truck in an amount not to exceed $824.
You're muted, Mayor.
Yeah. So if it's $824, why are we talking about it? Chris?
That's because it's added to the $128,000 that the truck cost. So so it's still a change order above $50,000. Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Fabricio. Mauricio, is there any public comment on this item?
None, Mayor.
I would hope not. Any comments from the commission? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve? Moved by Commissioner Goldman, second by the Vice Mayor. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Fabricio.
Thank you.
And we go to item 10E.
10E is a resolution ratifying an increase to the purchase order issued to MWI Corporation, doing business as MWI Pumps, for additional services related to the repairs of the Golden Shores Stormwater Pump Station.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Fabricio has stayed on in case if you have any detailed questions, but we've come to you twice with MWI Pumps to have both pumps now completely restored for the Golden Shores Pump Station. This is in lieu of rebuilding the entire pump station, so at the end of the day, it's a cost savings for the city. This last smaller pump, it was an estimate based on what they thought they could do. Once they took it apart, there were two pieces that needed to be replaced, not repaired. That total cost is $2,433. And then we're asking for a small contingency, rounded up to $5,000, just in case if something else comes up, I don't have to come back to you for a fourth time.
I think we should go into the pump business actually, because we seem to be do a lot with pumps these days, and I think we're gonna keep doing a lot with pumps as time goes on. So, any public comment on this item, Mauricio?
None, Mayor.
Public hearings closed. Any comments from the commission? Commissioner Goldman.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Okay, second by the Vice Mayor, moved by Commissioner Goldman. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Susan. Okay, item 10F.
10F is a resolution approving the purchase of 7 master meters from T2 Systems, Inc.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, this is a request to approve the purchase to 7 master meter machines. They're going to replace all master meters that are beyond repair at 4 locations, Ellenwin, Pier, Park, Limon Causeway, and the municipal parking lot. And the amount not to exceed $65,214.30.
Okay. Mauricio, any comments from the public on the master meter purchase?
No, Mayor, none.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Any comments from the commission on the master meter purchase? Okay, could I have a motion to, Vice Mayor? Motion to approve or comment? Motion to approve. Okay, thank you. Could I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lama. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
We already took 10G during the zoning hearing, so we're going to go on to 10H.
10H is a resolution approving a subordination agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for the northwest corner of 175th Street and Collins Avenue of the parcel with folio number 31-2211-004-0320, located at 17550 Collins Avenue.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, basically this is a request from the Aurora project. The Aurora project agreed with the Florida Department of Transportation to enter into a donation of land for 48 square feet. What happened is, what I understood from the developer is that they didn't finalize all the documents on time, and now that they are going for to reopening the permit to finalize the project, they need to put all the documents in line. And currently the city has a portion of that area, which that is why they are requesting, FDOT is requesting us to be in subordination of that agreement. Basically, in the future, they need to take the land. We will subordinate for that current easement that the city has.
Understood. Mauricio, any public comment on the 48 square feet subordination agreement? No. Okay. Any comments from the commission? Okay. Could I have a motion? Could I hear a motion to approve? Motion by the Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Lama. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Claudia. We go to item 10L. 10I, I'm sorry. 10I.
10I is a resolution approving the termination of the entire condominium regime of the Gateway Park Commercial Condominium, including the termination and vacation of the declaration of condominium of Gateway Park Condominium, the articles of incorporation, and the bylaws.
As the mayor just said a minute ago, we had a lease on the interior of Gateway. And in order to have the tenant who was planning the restaurant type operation would be paying taxes on it. So therefore, when we built it, we created a Gateway Park Condominium Association, so that area would be separated off from the city and not be taxable to us. We don't need that anymore, so this is simply the termination of that condominium association.
So this is probably one of the few condo associations that have ever gotten eliminated in the city. How's that, Commissioner Goldman? So you can tell your.
Not only that, as concerns an attorney who does condominium terminations, this is the easiest termination you'll ever see in your career or your lifetime. It just doesn't get easier than that. Terminations are a completely different breed. So this one's a home run.
There we go. Mauricio, any public comment on the termination?
No, Mayor, none. Oh, actually,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I do see 2 that came in just now.
Yep.
Ari, your name and address for the record, please.
Come off mute, Ari. Bottom left of your screen if you've got a PC, Ari. Bottom left corner.
Got it.
Come off. There you go. There you go.
Alice Tiger, 262 Atlantic Island. So me as a owner of a condominium there, what does it mean?
Nothing for you because you don't own the condominium in Gateway Park. You own the condominium next door. So what we're doing is when we originally built Gateway Park, we were going to have a commercial use in that building. So we had to partition the property from a tax standpoint because the commercial use would have been taxable, but the public use is not taxable for us. So now that we have a strictly public use, we can collapse the condominium that we had formed in Gateway Park with the anticipation of a commercial use.
How about
so it doesn't affect you at all.
How about as far as the parking?
No, it doesn't affect it.
Okay.
The parking was always a public use, just to be clear. It doesn't affect us with the parking. So thanks, Ari. So how did I do, City Attorney? Did I do okay on that one? So, okay, thank you. I got the thumbs up from our City Attorney. Okay, very good, Dana. Thank you. Mauricio, do you have another public comment?
Yes, one more. Jerry or Jody, your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, everyone. Jerry Joseph, 18560 North Bay Road. This is slightly off subject, but please, with all due respect, if we could chip in and get Claudia a headset similar to Larissa's setup or someone else's, because she's
crystal clear.
And everyone knows it. No one, I'm the only one saying it. She's totally, you cannot hear or understand.
Okay.
What she's saying.
Jerry, I promise. I'll tell you what, you won't have to chip in. I'll buy it. How's that?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. I'll take that princely salary they pay me for being mayor, and I'm going to buy Claudia a good pair of Bose headphones. So, okay. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate you pointing it out. Okay. Any other comments, Mauricio?
None, Mayor.
Okay. Public hearing's closed. Any comments from the commission regarding the termination of the condo? Okay. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by the Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Goldman. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We can terminate our condo. Thank you. Item 10J was deferred. We're going to go to item 10K, which was the add-on for Central Island drainage.
10K is a resolution approving a project agreement with Craig A. Smith and Associates to provide civil engineering services for the Central Island area pump stations and drainage improvement.
More pumps.
Yes, this is the area of our city north of 174th Street to 183rd Street in the Central Island area. Over the years, there have been several attempts to accelerate the removal of stormwater to eliminate any flooding in this section of our city. To date, these attempts have not resolved the problem. We would like to engage Craig A. Smith, the same engineering firm that successfully completed the stormwater project on 174th Street approximately 5 years ago. I think it was 5 or 6. The plans will include the installation of 2 underground pump stations. There'll be 2 smaller stations utilizing a similar type system as we have in Golden Shores that has proved successful for many years now, as long as you keep it updated. We're hoping to finally tackle that issue. It's the one remaining area of our city that does get significant flooding. But on the good side is it does go away within the day when the tide goes down, as opposed to areas to our north and south that you'll see for a week or two with flooding. So we're hoping to get that project going and hopefully a shovel in the ground working on it before the end of the year.
Great. Okay. Any public comments, Mauricio, on this item?
Not for this item, Mayor.
Okay. Public hearing's closed. Any comments from the commission? We're in the pump business. Okay. Could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Goldman makes the motion. The second by Commissioner Lama. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion carries unanimously. And that is it for our resolutions this evening. We've got 4 discussion items because we moved up 12B. The first being item 12A, a discussion regarding an ordinance prohibiting the delivery of cars. Vice Mayor Sletchen.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is specific to Golden Shores, but I know this is happening all around our city. And we are very, very fortunate that we have a vibrant city with residents that are able to order beautiful, exotic cars. Some have many, many cars. I know Chris has many cars, he collects them. However, it becomes somewhat of a nuisance, especially in the Golden Shores area where the car delivery trucks use the main streets as a place to park and unload. So I wanted to discuss what solutions can we come up with that would allow them to still cater to our residents who have ordered these vehicles. Obviously you can't order it on Amazon, but at the same time, not block up traffic, not pose a danger to the pedestrians, the kids walking to school. And, frankly, it's an eyesore to have a big giant truck right in front of your house or in front of your condo. So I know in speaking to the city manager, there are certain locations in our city that potentially we can ask them to use or tell them to use that have much wider streets with a lot less pedestrian traffic. So, Chris, did you want to talk a little bit about what you and I had discussed, or do you want to have the commission talk about it?
Well, I think we're going to have to really study it before we can, really get into talking about it, because I've talked to some residents in some of the other areas of town, and they too feel the same way, whether the streets are wide or not. So I think we've got to take a look at it. Like maybe I think it was the Miami Beach ordinance. I think we're going to have to take a look at this to see if we can. I mean, in essence, we'd be banning it from our public roads, and it looks like we'll have some say also over the state roads from their requirements. But instead of getting into the weeds right now, there is something that the state has where they can park for 15 minutes on a state road. So I think there's a lot.
I have a solution.
Yeah.
I have a solution. Okay. I've had 3 cars delivered, just for the record, in the past 2 years. And I always have the car carrier go under the 163rd Street Bridge. Because they can go on that lane and they can park, and they don't have to even pull off the road, because that road, that loop, and they go parallel to the parking lot there. They face north-south. They unload the car. They can't unload a car in 15 minutes on Collins. It takes too long.
No.
Especially when they have to jockey other cars around. But the thing is, no harm, no foul, because anybody that comes under there can go around them. Not a big deal, So frankly, that may be more prohibitive for somebody that lives in the north end of the city. But frankly, if you're getting a car delivered, you can have somebody go over there and drop you off, and it's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
The car carrier calls me. They say they're there. I tell them where to go. I meet them under the bridge. They drop the car off, and I take it home. So, frankly, that's worked out very well for me, because a car carrier can't turn around on Atlantic Island, and I don't want them blocking Collins Avenue. So each time I've done it, they've gone around the business loop. I've showed them how to go. They got to go eastbound. They got to loop around, go westbound, and they go under the bridge westbound, and then they stop. They stop when they're in that north-south street. In front of the Rabbi's Project. So so that's worked out really well for me. I don't know if we can do that by ordinance, but I think maybe we could. We could, as a practical matter, let people know if they want to get a car dropped off. That's how they should do it.
Yeah, that pretty much echoes my sentiments. I feel like the whole label of discussion regarding an ordinance prohibiting delivery of cars is it's a little bit of a misnomer, because I don't think it's a prohibition. It's more of an acceptable or permitted loading area, whether that's under the Lehman Bridge would be an acceptable loading area, or again, under 163rd Street Bridge. I think there should be, whether it's zoning or there should be a permitted area of loading and unloaded, 1 or 2 areas, rather than saying, this neighborhood, that neighborhood, it's prohibited. More like, kind of guidance. I think that's right.
Yeah.
My question would be along these lines. Actually, it's do we have to permit it? Do we have to provide a space when we have haulover not too far away? That seems to me a much roomier place. And like you're saying, it's a car and drive it home.
Well, then I'm going to be breaking the law. So because the fact is,
it's a genuine question. Like, is it something that we have to find a space for it, or can we just say, look, it's right over, just right over our
Commissioner
city.
Vizcarra, but the fact is, we have a lot of residents that get cars dropped off each year. So I think it would be unreasonable for us to take a position that, you know, that you can't drop cars off in the city, because there's a lot of residents. And frankly, I get a,
there. You can walk to Hollywood. I don't
yeah,
think
but the
that's
fact is,
unreasonable.
but it's not a, but the fact is they're not going to let a public, they're not going to let an 18-wheeler in the public parking lot of Hollywood to drop a car.
See, I don't know what they allow or don't allow. Just, but you know, I mean, if we can find a place, that's fine. But as a resident that lives on one of those wide roads, I don't like seeing the big truck, you know, especially when I'm not the one getting the Lamborghini, you know. So if we can find
I'm not getting a Lamborghini either. So my last car was an old truck.
You know, I'm
So,
sure
just for the
Hollover
record.
doesn't allow it, but you know, some people may do it. But I think we can look, but you know, thinking about every spot, and we all know all the spots in the city, I think the only one that really would work is that west end of 163rd, because under the Lehman, you can't turn around. You have to have a place that you can turn around. And I think that's the only spot. The more I think about it.
It's the same issue on Atlantic Island. I mean, the last time the car carrier was told me, oh no, I'll pull up to your house. I go, don't pull up to my house. You won't be able to turn around.
No.
So be back in a car carrier off of Atlantic Island on the columns. It's 3 times worse. You know,
so sorry to interrupt you, Mayor, but to my point, I think that banning it or not allowing it in Golden Shores is really, for me, very important, because it's not a place where you should be delivering the cars. And I don't think any of those cars are delivered to people that live in Golden Shores. Not that it necessarily matters, but it's not a place where you're going to have an 18-wheeler where you have so many pedestrians and especially kids running around. So yes, we may not necessarily prohibit it in the entire city, but we can certainly say that certain neighborhoods, you can't do it. So is that something that we can look at to see what other cities are doing? I can't imagine that other cities are allowing them to park wherever they want to.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. But I think, you know, to Commissioner Golden's point, I think it's hard to say, because first we say Golden Shores, and they're going to say North Bay Road, and then, I mean, I think we're better off saying where you can do it than where you can't do it, because ultimately.
These are public streets, right? I mean, they're state streets, public streets. It's a patchwork, right? We can't even.
Yeah, so I don't know. You know, I'm not sure what we're allowed or not allowed to do. But the fact is, but to your point, Vice Mayor, I think that I do think it is a problem. I think we all agree it's a problem. So why don't we look at what other cities are doing, and then maybe we take a whack at it that way, you know, and get some guidance. And I see a chat from Steve here. Most of the people having vehicles transported are from New York City, where it is banned, and they have to drop their vehicle off outside the city. I don't think it's unreasonable to improve residents' quality of life by not allowing them to block our streets. Okay, that's another perspective. I think that's Commissioner Vizcarra's perspective. So, appreciate the comment, Steve.
We do have one more person that has to speak, Mayor.
Mauricio, go ahead.
Jerry or Jody?
Hi, Jody Joseph, 18560 North Bay Road. This is something, and I'm sure you'll all admit to this, I've been complaining about what's going on in our area in Golden Shores. Got to say, we get absolutely no respect here. For the last 5 years, I have umpteen pictures and videos, as I'm sure you recall, me complaining about this, because it actually got dangerous where, you know, you have some people, you know, taking off their Porsche, Ferrari, great, beautiful, but then they're drag racing down the street. So it's really not such a simple, casual issue. And for 5 years, I've been begging, I said, let's put a gate up, let's put a fence. Everyone else has one. And I know, Bud, you said no, but the point is, we all know that 90% of the cars here, because I asked, being delivered, are for the high rises. So again, we're basically like the garbage can for all the high rises. And I could understand if somebody actually lived here and had a car delivered, that's one thing. If they have proof, they have an address, which I prefer not altogether. We shouldn't, but we have so many trucks here regardless. For every single high rise that's built uses us as a turnaround. And they sit 3, 4, 5, 18-wheelers lined up with the engines going. But it really, really is a problem, and I don't know why it took so long to do something about it. But it's really serious. Like I said, when you have people taking their cars off the trucks, And I have videos where they're literally drag racing down the street at all hours, whether it's, 10:30 at night or during the day. So please, we really need to take this, serious. Again, I don't know why, it's so hard to get things done for Golden Shores. I don't understand it. So if you would please look into that, I would so appreciate it, just for the safety, of, like we said, the kids and for everyone in general. So please.
Thank you, Jody. And I don't remember saying you can't have a gate. I just said there's a process, and that, so I never stopped anybody from having a gate, just to be clear.
I know, I promise. So. Have a gate. Yep. And I was so surprised and to actually.
No, I can't. Jody, I can't stop you from having a gate. Just to be clear, I never said you can't have a gate. I just said that it's not something that the city would own, because it's
we never asked
that.
Conceptualize. We never asked that. We just wanted for a little, because we've had a lot of issues here also. It's kind of kept hush hush. There's quite a few things that go on here. I just think everyone, I don't know a neighborhood that doesn't have a gate. And it's just, it can't hurt.
Atlantic Island doesn't have a gate. So just to be clear, so where I live.
But you know what? You're not.
We don't have a gate.
But right, but it's so different. You don't have the trucks driving through, turning around. You don't have the construction.
Yeah.
It's a little peaceful, a different area.
No, but Jody, again, just to be clear, your neighborhood can have a gate. Nobody's ever said you can't have a gate. It's a process you have to go through. That's all. But the city wouldn't be responsible for your gate. The neighborhood would. That's all. So that's all we've ever talked about is the responsibility of the city versus the responsibility of the residents. So I just want to be clear when I said you can't have a gate. Never said that. Said the residents have to be responsible for the gate. So that's it. But I agree. I think we're all in agreement that we don't want car carriers in your neighborhood dropping off cars. I think we all can agree on that. And I applaud the Vice Mayor for bringing it up. I think now we just got to find some reasonable solutions if we can, if they're out there. And if they're not out there, it may be Commissioner Vizcarra's, it might be her, her perspective. So, okay. So we'll see. Okay. Any other comments on this item?
One more, Mayor.
Okay. Okay.
Name and address for the record, please.
Area 262 Atlantic Isle. I think Commissioner Vizcarra's idea is the best because the truck can go in easy to the park. There's metered parking, so he doesn't have to, it's always empty there during the day. And usually they come only in the day. So that's a solution for everybody. It's not going to block anything. It's easy to get in and out from there. So I think that's the best solution.
Good.
Thank you.
So I think when you're researching what others do, why don't you take a look and see if that's legal? If the park would allow it. I don't know. I have no idea if the park would allow it or not. So, or would they charge for it? How would they charge for it if they would charge for it? I'm not sure. But I mean, truthfully, for me, it's just as easy whether we go to the park or go into the bridge. So, it wouldn't matter if it's okay with the park. Okay. We will move on to, we're going to move on to item 12. We did 12B in the beginning, 12C, beach litter. Commissioner Goldman.
Okay, this is a topic that I'm continuing to talk about and have a good, frank discussion about. I want to acknowledge Irina Zhirkova, who has been on her own spearheading these beach cleanup activities and doing a wonderful job of keeping our beaches litter free. And I think that she has she's a resident and she lives in one of our buildings on the south side. And she has, having done this for months and months, she probably has some very good understanding and perspective of the beach litter problem. So I'd like to yield or give her this opportunity to really talk to the commission and to the city public about our beach litter situation and where we're headed in terms of cleaning that up. Okay, Irina, it's all yours.
Irina, so you're probably the only person that naturally knows how to use Zoom on here. Okay.
Yes,
so it's all yours.
Know. Good evening.
See that? I didn't have to tell her to unmute. See that? So go ahead, Irina.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for your time. I will be presenting a PowerPoint today, so if that could be shared, I'd really appreciate it.
Yes, Irina, give me 1 second.
And I believe it's only going to take like 4 minutes of my time. So if you could just give your time, I'd appreciate it.
Go for it.
Okay. Yes, I guess I can get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Irina Zarkova, and first of all, I wanted to thank everyone for being here today and being willing to listen to my presentation on the city, Sunny Isles Beach, that we all live in and love. And I'm going to be talking about the beach's pollution problem and what we can do about it. Special thank you to Dana Goldman for giving me this opportunity to speak on this matter. Okay, if you can move on the second, please. Okay, so first, why start a cleanup? Well, it was the summer of when COVID was happening, and I decided to go outside on the beach and clean up trash myself. I started calling my friends to clean with me, and everyone was so interested, so I decided to start my own cleanup called Sunny Isles Beach Cleanup. It got many like-minded people involved in helping clean the beach. My goals are helping the earth and cleaning it so that our beautiful city stays clean. This is exactly why I started a cleanup, to make a bigger change so that there's more people involved. To the third one, please. Thank you. So what exactly is the problem? Well, first, we can clearly see the beach pollution that is going on currently. As you can see right here, this is just some of the pictures of the trash we have picked up and the things we have found. As you can see at the bottom right corner, you see that there's 2 bottles. There are vinegar bottles that come all the way from Haiti, which is roughly 700 miles away from us. That is crazy. Not only does the debris pollute the beach, but it is also dangerous to the marine animals. Animals such as turtles see plastic bags in the ocean, think it's jellyfish, and ingest it. They also eat microplastic, thinking that it's food. Not only turtles, but birds and other animals are hurt by this. We also see how this pollution is most likely a littering problem. Some people come to the beach and think that leaving their empty bottle won't do anything, but it does, and it has a big effect. There's also some people who throw their trash in the bushes thinking that it would be unnoticed by others, but in the end, it still has a big effect, as well as it accumulates throughout time. So what exactly is found? I commonly find microplastic, plastic cups, sharp objects such as glass, cans, plastic bags, and masks. This is just the beginning of what is found. There's also bottle caps, cigarette butts, and containers that are found that are damaging our environment. First slide, please. Now, let's talk about the places we see that are mostly polluted. There's trash that we see in the Newport Hotel, as it is mostly populated with hotel guests. We also see that there's a lot of trash in public places, as well as deep in the bushes, like we discussed in littering. There's also a lot of trash in the trees behind where I hold my cleanups, which is right next to the lifeguard tower that is standing right next to the pier. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that my mom takes morning walks on the beach almost every day, and has sent me multiple photos of how much trash there is at the beach right next to any condominium. So this isn't particularly a problem in specific places, even though in some places there is more trash. It is a problem along the whole beach. Thank you. Finally, what can we do about this problem? First, as I have mentioned, I do cleanups to help reduce the pollution, and I think this is really helping since every piece we pick up matters. Also, me and Dana discussed a couple of weeks ago how we should do a Teen Green event, which would gather teens in Sunny Isles to do a beach cleanup all together. Another idea that I had is that we can turn this Teen Green event into a club to have like-minded teens together meeting weekly, discussing future ideas and organizing beach cleanups, and would also get community service hours, which would attract more people. Another idea that I have is that I found a company called Next Trex, for which you select a 6-month period, collect specific trash items that add up to 500 pounds. After the company receives it, they send you a bench that it looks like the one on the picture, and we can put in our community. That's just one of their ideas, and I think that it is a great idea to do something great for our city, as well as placing the benches in city areas for residents and visitors. Lastly, another fun event we can do is decorating trash cans. I have seen another city decorating trash cans, such as the top left picture, and it sounds and looks like a great idea. There could be people all ages gathering up together for this event, participating, making our trash cans more colorful, as well as it being an extremely fun and creative event that will attract many. Again, this is only some of the ideas I have, and I am, of course, open to all of your ideas and suggestions. And lastly, I have created a 40-second video to show you some of the clips of the trash I collected. So if you could just share that video really quickly.
Nice.
Thank you. So as you can tell, there is a problem of pollution in Sunny Isles Beach, and I think we should take some steps to like change whatever is happening right now. And on the videos that you've seen, that's just like some of the clips of the cleanups that I've had. I've probably held like around 50 cleanups since August now, probably even more than that. And I think it should be something that should be discussed, and there should be a solution to it, because I don't think anyone wants seeing plastic on the beach, and everyone wants a clean beach, because beautiful city, clean beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, okay, so what do you think the solution is? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. Well, like I said, I came up with multiple solutions. For starters, having the beach cleanups, keep on having them, because they do truly make a difference. Because like I said, every piece we pick up matters. The second solution.
Marina, let me ask you a question. Can you guys get community service hours for the beach cleanups?
Yes.
If one of us signs off on it, if one of us signs off on it, you can get you can get service hours? Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They already do. She's already arranged it. She's already
Okay,
arranged
good.
it through the local
Good.
high school. And that's part of what makes this such a great program that she's initiated, because she's got such participation and such, involvement and engagement. And that's part of the process. And that's why I commend her and reward her so much, for, acknowledge what she's done, because on her own initiative, she's already taken that step.
That's great.
Yes, thank you for that. So going back to the solutions, like I mentioned, I really think the city should do like a green teen event kind of that would gather all teens on Sunny Isles, because I've seen like some like teen events in the past, but like they haven't really been like eco-committed type of event. So I think that it would be really great to do something like that. Plus maybe I don't know if that's possible exactly, like an idea again, but starting some like club or like thing, like a small gathering of teens that are like-minded like me, to be able to make a change in the community. And I also gave you some events that we could do, which is decorating trash cans. I don't know if that would be something possible, but those are some of my ideas. Of course, I come up with more. Those are the ones I have came up so far. And then another idea would be benches, but it would be honestly like up to you guys and up to the city to decide that. But it is a great way of showing that, you know, we care about the environment. We're not just, oh, here's the city, here's the beach. We're actually taking action.
Yeah.
Can I, Bud, can I interject? I just want everybody to know that Arena was really the conduit by which we have the Fill-A-Bag program, the Fill-A-Bag in the city, because Fill-A-Bag, Mr. Rionda, he actually approached Arena, and Arena is the person who made the initial contact with the city. So we really, you know, want to show citizen engagement and resident involvement in something this problem, which really is, you know, again, the beach is our greatest asset. So really, kudos to Arena for that.
Thank you.
So what I would say, Arena, is, you know, I would say that if you want to try to create some more formality around your programs, which is, I think, is what you're saying as far as the involvement's concerned, you know, I would get with Susan and with Sylvia and see if we can bake it into our, you know, how we do our program somehow, you know, because they're kind of the experts. And, you know, Dana obviously can point you in the right direction there. But I think that that's how you wrap it around some formality, because, you know, we're always looking to do things with teens, you know, and the fact is, you know, if we say, hey, there's a great teen club, we're a bunch of old folks, you know, trying to get some teens to clean up the beach, we won't get the same kind of play that you're going to get, quite frankly. So exactly. I think, yeah, you understand. I mean, I think that the key is for somebody like yourself or some of your friends that are like-minded to kind of make it, you know, make it interesting. But, you know, Susan and Sylvia could at least buy the pizza and the, and you know, and make it a little bit more fun, you know, as far as,
that's why I had introduced it as conceptual budget. I said, hey, what about a teen green? Because we've had that conversation. Let's get more programming for teens. And this is a great way of, again, engagement, involvement, and to really kind of formalize this. So that was the pitch I made a couple of weeks ago. So I'm hoping that we can further this process along.
Arena, what high school do you go to?
I go to NSU University School in Davie. It's part of Nova Southeastern University.
But some of the kids are local at ATM that are helping you, teenagers.
There's honestly like people all ages that come, like from little kids.
Okay, good. Because I recently, as I know the commission may remember, the student government from our local school came asking for money for recycling cans that we approved, but COVID changed everything, and they are restarting their requests for recycling, for getting rid of litter on the beach. And I would love to connect you with them because they'll be coming into high school next year. Are you in 11th? What grade are you in?
I'm in 11th grade. I'm going into 12th grade.
Oh, perfect. So you still have another year. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Great job, Arena. So thank you. And I think that's where I think, you know, I think, like I said, if you kind of, you can lean into Susan and Sylvia a little bit, and that'll be like a good city resource. And, you know, and then, you know, they can help you probably organize your thoughts and go from there. So, but great presentation, and thanks for the help.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you
Sure.
very
Jennifer,
much.
go ahead.
Don't go, Irina. Don't go yet.
Jennifer.
Just 1 second. Thank you, Mayor. I think you know, we're always telling people get involved. You know, and we're encouraging people to get excited and get involved. And you're such a perfect example of that. You found something that you liked that was important to you, and you know, you make a phone call, 2 phone calls, and eventually it becomes, you know, something like this. It's amazing. I think you should be very proud of yourself for accomplishing what we've done. And as a city, we're grateful. And I think also grateful are our nesting turtles. I'm sure they appreciate coming onto a cleaner beach.
Yes, exactly. So, that was one of my points.
So, have you applied to the Silver Knights?
Sorry?
Have you applied to the Silver Knights Award?
No, I have not.
You're familiar with it?
I think it's in Dade, not Broward, Vice Mayor.
Oh.
Is it Silver Knights in Broward? I thought that they were in Dade.
I think just Dade.
Yeah, probably Dade.
Yeah, you would win that. Yeah. You would win that.
Yeah.
I hope Irina can inspire us to get moving on the designated teen space that we talked about in the budget meeting. I would love to see to see more Irinas.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Irina.
Thank you for your time.
So
good work.
So we got a couple chats here. So Connie Orlando said, "Well done. There's hope for a better future with young people like you." There you go. And Carla Math says that Silver Knights are in both counties. They just gave the awards tonight. Marina needs to apply for Silver Knight next year. So Silver Knight's a big deal. You know, actually, my brother won the Silver Knight for Science in 1973. So from Miami, Norland. I did not, but my brother did. So I'll give my brother some props for that one. Okay, thanks, Arena. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Be well.
Great job.
Okay. Discussion item 12D, personal matters. Commissioner Vizcarra.
Well, you covered some of what I wanted to address at the opening of the meeting, which is the retirement of the pending retirement of our chief. Yeah. You know, so you touched on that a little bit. I just, you know, I think everybody else except Alex and I, we haven't been through the changing of a chief, and so I wanted to get an idea. I think it's good when we're all working from the same base knowledge, and then we can all branch out in our own directions. So I wanted to, number one, congratulate the chief and thank him for everything that he's done. And then I wanted to talk about how the process works. Like, what can we expect? We have, you know, his letter said that he's planning sometime around early September. So my concern was, well, we have June, July, supposedly no meeting in August. And by early September, if he's gone then, we don't have a whole lot of time to cover this ground. And so I just wanted to ask, you know, how that process works.
So Chris, so first of all, the chief told me he won't leave us high and dry, so don't worry. But the fact is, so Chris, why don't you just describe, you know, we do a search and kind of how that process works for Commissioner Vizcarra.
So the first thing is, which I think some of you know, if not all of you, with the change in the charter, the way it works is the city manager makes a recommendation and it has to be ratified by the city commission. So that means that, you know, we have to work in concert with each other. This is not one person's decision, which it was before. It was the city manager's. And I guess there was some problems with that over the years that I wasn't here. But what we would do is, like the mayor said, we would do a complete search on this. I want to talk to, I think, I mean, just because of sunshine and things, and eventually you will be voting on it. I think what's got to happen first is I have to set one-on-one meetings with each member of the commission, and to get what you know, what your thinking is on it. Maybe give you a baseline, you know, start with the job description for the position. But, you know, I want to hear what everyone is thinking, get that down. And, you know, we can decide if we want to do it ourselves, if we want to bring in a recruiter to do it. You know, that's a decision too. I mean, I don't want to get into detail on this now, but I think the first thing that I need to do is to sit down with each of you and get your thoughts on it.
Well, why can't we get our thoughts out now? Like, why can't we get a search committee or something? You know, why can't we?
So Commissioner Goldman. Okay, yeah. What I would say is, I think when Chris says your thoughts, I think everybody can basically, first of all, some might be, I don't like what the chief was doing here. I don't like what the chief was doing there. I don't think that's necessarily needs to be, you know, in a public meeting, quite frankly.
Well,
so
why
I think
are we taking straw votes like this? You know, like one-on-one meetings.
We're not taking straw votes.
No, I'm just
when he says, hold on, Dana, hold on, guys. Dana, when he says get your thoughts, he doesn't mean on an individual. He means on the characteristics of what you're looking for in a chief.
Right.
Let's be clear. So he's not saying, I like this guy or that guy. That's not what he's going to ask you. He's going to ask you saying, okay, you know, you want a chief that's good at traffic enforcement. Do you want a chief that comes from a big city? Do you want a chief that comes from a municipality like us? Because that helps guide the recruitment process for who you go out and look for. So he's not just, because I think I knew that would be misinterpreted when he said it. He's not asking for who you like individually. He's asking for what characteristics you see in our next chief.
Well,
so that's the issue.
Well, how is this going to work? Is this going to be, again, is it like the city manager is going to hire a recruitment company, or can the commission say we want a search committee? Why can't we,
No,
can we advocate
either
for
way.
that, or we're without bounds for
Yeah,
that?
you can advocate that. That's part of the process. So when Chris calls you, you can say, I prefer an internal committee. Or you can say, I prefer an external recruiter. Because there's a lot of, there's recruiters that specialize in this, right? There's recruiters that specialize in hiring chiefs and things of this nature. So, but I think that that's part of when Chris goes around and discusses it with each individual, they can tell Chris, you know, what they're thinking. And then that gives Chris some guidance on what the flavor of the commission is. I personally like search firms because it takes, you know, most people do not understand how to go out and recruit executives. They're not schooled in it. But I would just say that, you know, that'll be up to the individual, you know, everybody can talk about it with Chris, you know, individually.
Okay, but we're not vetting individual, internal, external. There's going to be none of this straw poll business. It's going to be completely, you know, through some sort of.
That's my point.
Okay.
And then
There's
when
a process.
when we've had these one-on-ones, does the process go to a vote, or is that, or he just takes the input?
No, it's up to the city manager. Truthfully, none of this, the city manager is indulging us by even having that process, quite frankly. But I think but by doing that, he's getting some guidance from us on what we might be looking for, you know, each individually, and then he can kind of put that into the stew and then sit down with the search firm and then not necessarily the search firm or search committee and go from there. But it will be up to Chris to decide, you know, ultimately from the feedback he gets from the commission, whether it's a committee or a firm. So, and then the characteristics that he tells them
And the
of.
scope or
That's a good question, Dana. This is not about individuals.
Okay, are we gonna then, if we all of us, and Ed, I'll defer to you on this, you know, the approach, but for sunshine reasons, but if we decide to do a search committee, we would vote on this at the next meeting, or how does that work? Because it seems like, you know, there's a preference I hear from both you and Chris about, you know, getting a recruiter as opposed to, you know, a search committee. And I'm wondering, you know, how we all feel about it.
Yeah, but I think if Chris comes back to me and says, you know, 4 people want a search committee, I'll say, okay, then, you know, put a committee together, you know, I mean, but so, you know, that's different. I mean, I've served on these committees before I was a commissioner. I served on a, you know, city manager committee, city manager search committee, whatever. Again, I don't want to bias anybody, but I had my own experience with it. And I feel that, you know, and I like having professionals involved, but that's my own interpretation. And I hire a lot of outside executives doing what I do. So I'm pretty familiar with, you know, how these processes go and, you know, and then, you know, what makes a good outcome and what makes a, you know, an average outcome. So, but anyway, but I think to your point, Commissioner Goldman, it's not about individuals. It's about, you know, it'll be, you know, Chris will query you on process and on characteristics.
It's going to be big on the process, yes, and the characteristics that I get, you know, that I get from myself and from everybody on the commission. I mean, you're going to be voting for this. So whether it's, and I didn't mean recruitment, a recruiter, I meant we need to do a recruitment. We have to, I've got to, you know, part of it is a straw poll, because I'm not going to recommend going a direction that I don't know that either the whole committee or the whole commission or the majority of the commission agrees with. It doesn't make any sense, you know, for me not to do it that way. But because either way, you're going to vote on it, whether it's a citizens committee, a recruiter and the citizens committee. I mean, I've seen it done every which way over the years. So I want to get a little more background information to be able to talk to you about it.
And the fact is, I agree with the charter change, simply because as a practical matter, the city manager might have had the authority to hire the police chief, but if he didn't hire somebody that the commission was happy with, it would have been, it was going to be difficult, you know? And so as a practical matter, you know, exactly what you're saying, Dana, that I think that, you know, one way or another, it gets vetted by the commission in some form or fashion. So the way this is the first time it's ever been vetted this way. Because this is the first time that we're hiring a new chief under the, you know, under the charter change, I think. Was it last time I don't remember last time if that was the case or
No,
not,
we
but in
didn't
any
have
case,
that. No, it wasn't there.
we didn't have
It
it.
happened until
That's right.
2012. Yeah.
Right, right. So, and you know, and then when our current chief got promoted, we didn't do an outside search. You know, we just did a promotion from within, and we all agreed.
We had a succession plan. You know, that was the biggest thing that you and Norman had talked to me about.
Yeah. So anyway, but okay. So Chris will go around. I'm glad you brought it up, Jennifer. I didn't get into too many details at the start of the meeting. I just kind of, you know, it was more of, I wanted to be a little ceremonious for the chief. But so Chris will make the rounds, and I think everybody can, give Chris their thoughts on the process and on the, and on what we're looking for. So
that's the first step.
Okay. Thank you. And then I have the other issue is there's nothing in the charter or nothing that I found that addresses if and when administrative leave should be taken by the charter positions. So there's nothing addressing when administrative leave should be taken by the city attorney or the city manager. And when we have a city attorney that's in-house or when we have a firm, how that's addressed. We don't have any that I know of. No process for that.
When's the next charter revision commission due?
2022.
20. Okay, good. Then I would put it on the list.
So that's
a great. That's good. Yeah. So I think that's a charter, because frankly, sometimes we're looking for things with the charter in those, but I think that's a good item to add to the, because when we put a charter revision commission together, I actually served in the first one. I chaired the first charter revision commission at the 5-year anniversary of the city, long before I was a public official. But I would say, Jennifer, that's a good one to put on there. Keep a short list of these things that you're thinking of, and then you give it to the commission.
I mean, I have to tell you, it's a concern, and I speaking, I even if hypothetically, but it's a concern on my mind, and I would like to know, how if that were presented now, like how would we address that?
Why are we kicking the can down the road? I mean, perhaps you can go into regarding what Commissioner Viscara is stating. Why are we suggesting?
Because we can't change the charter. Because we can't change the charter. We have the charter. I mean, we could put it out for, we could create a process to change the charter for a vote. But if the revision commission's in 22, the revision commission does a exhaustive analysis. That's what their job is, and then they come up with charter questions that get carefully worded for legal conformity, and then it goes to a vote. So that's the process.
But when you have
I'm not kicking the can.
But when you have the absence of language, it doesn't say you can't do it. Right. It's just a vacuum. Yeah. And so, if we were in a situation where that was a concern, what would that process be? I think that we can, we would discuss it. We would you vote on it. Could I, if there was an investigation going on Ed right now, could we do that?
Mm-hmm. I guess we could if we felt it was.
We can. I guess we felt.
I guess we could felt if we. Yeah, I guess we could. But I guess the point is that right now it's not by charter. I thought you were bringing it up hypothetically.
Well,
so hypothetically, I would give it to the Charter Revision Commission. I wouldn't give it to us.
I think it belongs in the charter. Absolutely, I think it's absolutely something we can put in the charter. But I'm highlighting an absence and a concern that we don't have anything in place right now. And so, do we have to wait? You understand what I'm saying?
But
I understand what you're saying, but the point is,
I agree with Commissioner Viscara. I'd like to hear some other comments from the commission, but I agree. I'm not sure why we're again, kicking this can down the road. So
I don't think we're kicking any can down the road. I mean, unless somebody is saying that one of the charter positions should be on administrative leave today, then there's nothing to talk about. But I mean, if you're making a suggestion that one of the two charter positions should go on administrative leave for some reason, make it. But if you're not, then I think that it's a valid point. It's silent in the charter. Put it on the charter commission list.
Well,
it's pretty binary, in my opinion.
but I'm trying to be tactful, but then absolutely, then I would have to make that motion, and my reasons are out of kindness. I'm concerned that there being an ongoing investigation, that administrative leave for the city manager would be the best way to protect him, so there's no future allegations or accusations that the investigation or the process has been compromised. I think it preserves the integrity of the process, and we expect it to be relatively short. So I think we're just talking about a couple of weeks. I don't see the harm, and there being nothing saying that we can't. I would like that motion entertained. I'm doing it not out of this is not out of anger. I'm doing it out of concern and out of desire to protect both the process and the city manager during this process. And I'm open to suggestions, and I'd like to have this conversation if the commission is willing.
Have you spoken to the city attorney? Hold on, Dana. Have you spoken to the city attorney about your concern?
I have.
Does the city attorney agree with your recommendation?
I will let the city attorney speak for himself.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor, Commissioners, I don't have a recommendation. I believe that you certainly have the power and the authority to take whatever action you deem necessary with respect to either of the charter officers, but I don't have an opinion one way or another.
Okay.
I'd like to have a discussion as well. I'd like to know what basically are the best practices regarding something like this. I've been reading some material, other cases as well. So I'd like to, ask Ed what the best practices are in a case like this, in a situation like this.
I'm not aware of any. I've not seen this before, especially in light of the nature of the allegations.
You have not seen this before?
I've not seen a charter officer put on administrative leave based upon anonymous allegations that don't have anything to do with the operation of the city.
Have you seen employees or a charter position put on administrative leave with accusations that had a name and signature behind them?
Only if it affects the operation of the municipality. But there are no such allegations in the letter that we all have.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know what best practices are under these circumstances. A best practice for me is to get an independent firm, which we've done, to conduct a professional investigation, which is what we're doing. Other than that, yeah. I don't know of any other best practices.
I just think it's better to err on the side of caution, take the most conservative approach. This is not a reprimand. It's not a suspension. There's no judgment. It's temporary. And I think it prevents future claims that we didn't do what we could have done. And hopefully,
I think it does the opposite. Jennifer, it does the opposite. Okay, let's be clear. So obviously, I got the letter. Okay, I saw it. I immediately sat with the city attorney. And I said, I rarely respond to anonymous letters, okay? But, because this letter has been widely circulated, I really felt it was important that we did respond, okay? And I spoke to the city attorney and I said, let's get an outside, firm to investigate it, which is what we did. But beyond that, what you're doing what you would be doing is if we do a temporary suspension is
Not a suspension. I
anybody,
want to be very clear about that.
well, okay, whatever, administratively, anybody then can pop up with anything anonymously, okay, and force a leave on somebody, which is not, and the fact is, to the city attorney's point, none of those allegations, I mean, they're allegations, and the fact is, none of them involve malfeasance or
Nothing criminal, 100%.
personal gain, but this is my point. So what is the basis? What would the basis be for a suspension? It doesn't make, okay, whatever. What would the basis be for, it is a suspension if you're putting somebody on leave, but anyway. So, my point is that I think we did take the most conservative course of action by hiring an outside firm for something that somebody wasn't willing to put their name on. Okay, let me tell you, I have 2,500 employees. So I deal with a multitude of personnel issues. I mean, all the time. And the fact is, anonymous issues are very, very difficult, especially in this day and age with social media and everybody wanting to take pot shots at everybody because they can hide behind anonymity. So I do think the fact that we hired an investigator, we made that clear to the city staff about 2 weeks ago, that we got the letter and that we looked at it and we said, okay, just to remove, any cause of doubt, we hired an outside investigator. And I think that is erring on the side of caution. I think going any further 100%. is actually aiding and abetting an anonymous, basically these anonymous pot shots. And it is what it is, So that's, obviously you see where I fall on that. And
I do.
The city attorney, go ahead.
I see your point, and I do agree that obviously that the action taken is 100% appropriate. But I feel very strongly, and obviously, if I didn't feel strongly about it, I wouldn't be in this moment right now. But I feel strongly that it's important to preserve the process to the extent that we can, especially given that we're expecting this to be a short-lived situation. In the absence of formal guidelines, or policies, and I think this is the safest route, and I don't see. I generally
so the policy would be. So let's be clear.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, the policy would be if we get an anonymous complaint about somebody, and that's basically, has no fiduciary basis for anything, we're gonna suspend them.
It's not a suspension.
Or we're gonna, what do you call it? Okay, not a suspension.
Okay,
we're gonna put them on administrative leave. So that could happen to anybody in the city at any time.
No, I think that, first you go through the process. Again, we don't have an outline process, but first you go through the process. You evaluate the situation. If you feel that it merits an investigation, I think that where there's an investigation, best practices, and I've done some research too, and best practices does call for that. And I don't think it's.
I honestly did not feel this merited an investigation. But I did it but I basically asked the city attorney to do it over an abundance of caution because I did it for the manager because I thought the allegations were somewhat inflammatory. And I figured an investigation at least would put it to bed for him because ultimately I thought it was unfair the way it was presented. But going beyond that.
That's true.
And honestly, I didn't do the investigation because I agree with the allegations. I did the investigation to put to bed any issues that would have blowback on the manager.
But that's my point. Don't you want to preserve the integrity of the investigative process? Because that ultimately protects Chris more than
an outside investigator. That preserves the integrity of the investigation. It's not like Chris is doing the investigation or Mauricio is. We went to an independent law firm. That preserves that's the whole point. the fact that he's working during the investigation, there's nothing in that letter that says he did anything, that breached his fiduciary, any kind of, issue with the city. I mean, so my point is, the whole point of an independent investigator, I said to Ed, Ed, you can't do this and your firm can't do this. We need a third party firm. Okay. So my point is, thought did go into the process that we're taking. Now, I don't believe the charter can outline every permutation and combination of if something goes off, if we get something like this. But I do think we set a terrible precedent if we get an anonymous letter that makes, some allegations that I don't believe, are either, the materiality of it is questionable, and we're going to then take somebody out of their job. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Honestly,
he would still continue to be paid. This is how I see it, and I'm looking at it.
Can I add something, please?
Okay, I'd like to listen to the Vice Mayor.
I just want to say,
Vice Mayor.
I understand what Commissioner Viscara is trying to do, but I agree with the mayor that to preserve the integrity of investigation is to leave it until we get to the final results of the investigation. And quite frankly, the fact that we're using taxpayer money to have this investigation and then have a city manager not working but getting paid on top of it, all from an anonymous complaint, it seems to me like that's actually counterintuitive. It really is, because like the mayor said, these aren't allegations that affect his day-to-day work, in my opinion. But I'm not the expert. That's why we're having an investigation done, so they can tell us, what we should be doing.
Can I make a comment?
We're talking about it.
No, Chris.
We're talking about 2 weeks.
Hold your thought.
We're talking about 2 weeks.
Hold your
I
thought.
mean, what we're talking about a 2-week process. Is that all we're talking about?
No.
Can I just let me just finish? It's not going to be.
I don't know how long it's going to take, but I don't know how long it's going to. Vice Mayor.
My point is that this is not going to be a year-long process. I mean, the point of this is to take seriously something that we received anonymously, although I do agree with the mayor, when you get something anonymous, you can basically write anything you want. And I agree with you, Commissioner Viscara, that perhaps we should have a process in place within the charter. But at this moment, right now, what we're doing, I think, is the most conservative, really over the top thing, but it is going to make sure to, in my opinion, cross the T's and dot the I's.
Yeah. Okay, Alex.
Your turn.
Yeah, Alex, and then Dana, you can go. Alex?
Dana, you're speaking. You could go.
I'd actually like to hear what you have to say, because.
Okay. Well, I read the letter. Some of the allegations are very serious. And I just want to understand what the best practices are. I know, Ed, we've spoken before. I brought up a couple of observations. I spoke to you, Chris, as well. I brought up some of my opinions and thoughts on this. And quite frankly, the way I see it, I agree with Jennifer and certain things. I don't want this investigation to go on, and then at the end we have the results, we have the findings. I don't want anybody questioning the investigation. I want this to be as bulletproof as possible for the benefit of everybody in the city, for everybody, for all the residents, and quite frankly, to protect everybody in the city and to protect the city. So I need to have a better understanding of what the best practices are. Whether Chris stays or Chris, takes administrative leave, I need to understand this, and I need to make a very informed decision on this. That's my take. Again, some of the allegations are very serious. We need to take them seriously. And I want the investigation not to be questioned. I want the investigation to yield results that we all, at the end of the day, feel comfortable and trust. That's it.
Alex,
I don't want
but for the investigation not to be questioned, that depends upon the investigator. Okay? So the point is, we went to an outside independent counsel. This is the whole point. That was the whole point of going there. I mean, so basically what you're saying is, tomorrow, somebody can write an anonymous letter about me, and I should step aside. I mean, You can't, that's not how HR works. I can
We're
tell you.
talking about
Go
two
ahead.
charter positions. We're not talking about the world. I get plenty of anonymous complaints against me, okay?
Hold
Alex,
on.
go ahead.
Time out, everybody.
Go ahead.
Time out.
Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, you misinterpreted me, but what I was trying to say is that I'm not questioning the integrity of the investigator right now, of the law firm that Ed has hired. I don't have any doubt about that. You know, what I'm trying to communicate is that because, let's say, Chris stays or he goes or whatever it is, I brought some observations up to Chris, to Ed. I don't want any question marks at the end of the day. I, for one, trust the firm that Ed has hired. I just don't want somebody from the outside or somebody, you know, from the inside, some, you know, disgruntled employee or group of employees, you know, keep questioning the process or the findings in this investigation because Chris did not, or we did not do the best practices. And, you know, and again, I don't understand what the best practices are, but maybe, I don't know if Chris should leave, he should stay. Again, this is an anonymous letter, which makes it very difficult. You know, I mean, there's no signature, there's no name behind it. But I'm not questioning the integrity or the values of the firm we have hired. I'm just saying that, you know, we need to do what's best, and I don't know what the best practices are. But whenever
why don't we do this?
Why
don't we ask Ed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
But
why
Alex,
can't
don't we do this?
It looks like we've
Hey,
got
hold on,
three
Dana.
commissioners who are in some sort of level of agreement here, and you know, you're
Okay, but
trying
hold on,
to push
hold on.
the issue here.
Dana, I'm not trying to push the issue. I want to be fair because this is a very, very sophisticated issue, in my opinion, because I think we have three commissioners that don't have a lot of HR experience. Okay, quite frankly. I have a lot of HR experience, respectfully.
That's a little patronizing.
I'm not being patronizing. I'm being honest because ultimately, you know, again, I think if you're concerned about this, what I'd like to do is ask Ed to basically go to Labor Council and ask them what they think. I know what I use Littler Mendelson and Foley, okay, two of the big law firms in the country. I know exactly what they would tell me. They would tell me that, you know, they wouldn't have even told me to investigate it, first of all. But the fact is, you know, we are investigating it, but they would not, there is no way, you know, I think that they would tell me I risk a lawsuit if I put somebody on administrative leave for something like this. But that's besides the point. I'm not
That's
saying Chris is gonna sue.
conjecture. That's your conjecture.
It is conjecture. It is conjecture, but this isn't a trial. But this isn't a trial, counsel.
But there's
It's not
a
trial.
reason. There's a reason why the letter was anonymous. People don't retaliated against. That's basically, you know.
But Dana, that's everything then. So what you're saying is nobody should ever stand behind anything because they're afraid of retaliation. The fact of the matter is, you know, then they should have went to the city attorney. Okay? I mean, the fact of the matter is that's what, you know, go to the city attorney. You know, he's a charter position and he's at equal footing with Chris. There's no issue with that. Ed's not going to retaliate against anybody. You know, there's a reason why the letter was anonymous because the people didn't want, they're basically taking a shot. Okay? I get that. I understand. But my point is we're going above and beyond the call of duty by what we're doing in the first place. But I think, you know, taking a position that anybody can say anything and that's going to charter something, that's going to trigger something like this, I think it's a terrible precedent. You know,
it
but
triggers. You're the one who took the step to get an outside investigator.
Of course I did.
Trigger. If you thought it was a non-issue, you would never have brought an outside.
The truth is, I did. The truth is, okay. The fact is, I thought it was a non-issue. I didn't think it was a non-issue, but I knew, you know, based on the public nature of what we do, okay, that it would be that it got widely circulated. So I thought, okay, because it got widely circulated, against my, you know, I swallowed hard because again, it's anonymous. I swallowed hard and said, okay, you guys talk about abundance of caution. I thought this was a tremendous abundance of caution, but I think what you're suggesting is taking it way too far. Simply
it wasn't
because,
my suggestion, but I feel like you're
no, I'm not saying what you're suggesting. I mean the commission.
The commission. Remember, we're not a strong mayor. We're not strong mayor charter.
I understand.
You know, we
I understand.
have voices
but we also
too,
have
and I think sometimes.
But we also have a discussion item. I didn't say it's strong mayor, Dana. but we're having a discussion item. It's not an item up for vote. Nobody put a resolution.
Hold on, I'd like to add.
But hold on a second. But let me suggest one thing, because everybody's talking about best practices, and nobody has a best practice. Nobody has the understanding of the process for what a best practice is in this instance. Okay, our city attorney doesn't even have it. He's already said that. But so what I would suggest is, let's let the city attorney go to Labor Council, find a good Labor Council and say, here's the fact trail. What would you do? I will stand behind whatever they tell us to do. Because if you really want best practice, that's how you do it. When I have an HR issue that's thorny, I go to Littler or I go to Foley, I go to my top labor lawyer and I say, here's the issue, what should I do? And I get advice. That's what, frankly, that's what good lawyers are there for. I don't think any of us are experts in the field. And I think in respect for Chris and the fact that it's an anonymous complaint, I think that if you're that concerned about it, let's let Ed go back and, you can probably research it in a day. So, I'm basically willing to take the outcome of that and go from there. I mean, so that's my thoughts on it.
No.
So, Ed, how do you feel about that?
I think it's a really good idea for me to contact Labor Council and ask them what their recommendation would be, since they're the ones who have all of the facts to make that kind of recommendation. But going to someone else other than who's already conducting the investigation doesn't make any sense, because they don't know what the facts are.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm willing to listen to the investigator, and if the investigator says, he thinks that the situation would have a higher degree of credibility if Chris was put on leave, okay, I'm in.
Well,
I'll agree with you guys. But yeah, I understand. But I'm not. But I don't. But right. But I don't think that our intuition carries the day here.
But our
I guess that's my point.
Our votes do, okay, and our voices.
But we don't have a resolution, Dana. There's not a resolution, and you didn't put it on the agenda as a resolution.
Listen, I didn't put it on the agenda, but I'm listening, and I'm saying if somebody wanted to make a motion, but you're basically, you're steering this bus here,
I'm the mayor, Dana. That's what I do, and I'm trying to be fair to the city manager.
Right. Okay.
Who's had a long career, and it's an anonymous allegation. And what I'm trying to show the commission is that we're not experts. Okay, we're not experts, and somebody's career is at stake here as well. Okay, and it's not just like, administrative leave isn't a big deal. Okay, it is a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal, and it's an anonymous allegation, and we have an investigator, we have a process, and I think us determining to take it a step further, I don't think we're qualified to do that. That's all I'm saying. And so I'd much rather just let's get the opinion of the expert. And again, I'll go along with the opinion of the expert. I don't have an issue. So my point is to you guys, I'm willing to raise the issue with the expert. I'm not even saying don't raise the issue. Okay, I'm saying let's raise the issue with the expert, and if you want a process, you got one. Not just that three of us agree and let's go off and and jam it. I don't agree with. But
there's no jamming here. You don't have to you don't have to pay.
Dana, if you want to override the opinion of the expert, it is getting jammed. If you don't want to wait and hear from an expert, it is getting jammed. I'm sorry, because then it's our opinion that this is the way we should go. So I don't agree with you on that. So, but we've disagreed before, so that's okay.
I think that it's best practices to get best practices from the expert.
And that's what I was asking for. I want to understand. Okay. I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but by God, I would not want to work in HR, believe me, and I want to deal with those issues. But yeah, I just want to get a good understanding for the sake and the benefit of all of us and the city. That's all.
Oh, okay. So can we agree that we'll direct the city attorney to make that inquiry tomorrow? He can make that inquiry tomorrow if people are concerned. So Jennifer, are you okay with that?
Well, So I did make the motion, so we are in that motion, but I'm comfortable if we can get an answer, you said, in a couple of days. Like I said, there's nothing there's nothing guiding this process. So if we can agree
Jennifer,
to,
there's an investigator. Please don't say there's nothing guiding the process.
No.
There's an investigator, okay?
God, what I mean is,
Yeah.
there's nothing in the charter. We don't have we don't have anything telling us how to make this decision and to have this conversation, and we have to do it like this. But if we can agree that, we seek out best practices and that we'll consider those recommendations, at least we're looking at it, because I think it's important to look at it. I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, very good. So, okay, so Ed will get back to us individually. Obviously, he can't talk to us collectively, but he'll get back to us individually. And like I said, I'm not gonna send up a flare if the whatever the investigator comes back with, or whatever Ed's recommendation is, I'm fine. So, but I think Ed understands the concern, and he'll speak to the investigator, and then we can get the issue framed from there. Okay. Any other comments on this matter? Thank you. Larissa, parking meters, something much more exciting. So.
Yeah, well,
12E.
I think that Jody and Jerry had their hand up, Mauricio.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't see that. Mauricio?
I'm sorry, I missed that also.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. They just hold their hand. Never mind. They lower their hand. Right?
Okay. Okay. We move on. Item 12E.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Look.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So this is something that was discussed with myself and the new board from La Perla. And the conversation was really about the Pier Park. But we recognized in that discussion that any solutions to their longstanding challenges with the Pier Park aren't going to happen tomorrow. But then through our discussion and through some brainstorming, I said, well, if we're trying to get less people and less traffic going in and out of that park, because the parking does not allow for that many cars to constantly be going through there, does it make sense to raise the cost of parking so that it's consistent with other cities? And quite frankly, to raise it so that if you're going to be parking on the beach, it's a luxury. You don't have to walk as many blocks. So why wouldn't we do that? And potentially, if you're paying more, you're more likely to stay longer. So again, it mitigates that back and forth traffic that they've had concerns with pedestrians walking there and safety issues, but also the backup on Collins. So there's a lot of things that can be mitigated by increasing the parking in Pier Park and Ellen Wynn, which I know is closed right now, in order to help alleviate some of the challenges that they're having, but also to help overall with safety in the city and really traffic on Collins when it's backed up. So what does everyone think? Too tired from the last one?
Dana, go ahead. Yeah, we're wiped out. So go ahead, Dana. Sorry.
I'm just getting started. I'm not sure that raising the parking rates is really going to accomplish your objective of reducing the parking traffic. I'm not sure how much money we would raise and how many cars are real. I'm just, I look at it. What's the problem we're trying to solve? So if the problem is we have too many people coming to our beaches, I just don't see that raising the prices that is going to really make that big of a difference. So
all right, I appreciate the question. So let me clarify. This is definitely not too many people coming to our beaches. The problem is, and I'm not going to reiterate the whole thing because we've got many commission meetings on this, but La Perla regrettably was approved and built adjacent to a public park. And so to get into their building, you have to go through public property. And we've had a lot of back and forth on how to solve for this. And their biggest issue has been safety and backlog and them not being able to get into their own building. So in our past commission meetings, we have discussed at length the potential of removing most of those parking spaces and reconfiguring the park. They would have to work with the Newport. We would keep the the disabled parking. But all of this, as we all know, takes permits, takes time. We all have to still vote on it. So something that can be an immediate impact for them is if it costs more to park somewhere, someone is going to think twice about parking there. Maybe not you.
I don't see it. I don't. First of all, I've been
let me
here
finish.
since
Let me
day
finish.
one, and I don't see
Okay.
this. I'm not
Okay.
feeling this. I'm not feeling this.
Okay.
Hold on. Larissa's got the floor.
Way.
Yeah.
Let me finish. So I've know that parking lot since I was a teenager, and it used to be free. And when it was free, everybody would hang out there. Obviously, there was no La Perla there. There was a parking lot adjacent to the free parking lot, which was owned by the Newport. None of us parked in there because it cost money. I think it was nominal. Maybe it was like $2. But for people that are looking to save some money and want to have a nice time at the beach, they may be willing now to spend more time at the beach rather than the back and forth that the building is experiencing. This is to alleviate some of their pain. You are welcome to your opinion. That's why I want to hear everyone's opinion.
$2 an hour. I don't think it's going to make a dent at all.
No, I didn't say $2 an hour. It would be increased to $5 an hour.
From $3 an hour.
Yes.
That's $2 an hour. That's the delta.
Right. Well, for you, it might not make a difference. For you, it might not make a difference. For other people, it might.
That $2 an hour, the delta on that parking lot, nah, I'm not feeling it.
Well, we could increase it more. I'm not against increasing it more.
The solution to the problem is diverting or moving those, or what Chris had indicated, which is we're going to revisit our original plans, not, putting up the fee, $2. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. And that parking lot is very profitable to begin with, right? We're not doing it for the money, obviously, right? I don't see it. It's always full, and I don't think that's going to change by increasing $2 an hour.
Alex.
Yeah, I've spoken to residents of La Perla. I believe that a lot of the people that park in that parking lot, in the Pier Park parking lot, are not from the city. So I think it's a good idea. We could try it out definitely to increase the parking rate and then see how that works. And then we'll just tweak it and continue to try to find a solution. But I think that we've been talking about trying to mitigate the issues that we've been having there since I started as a commissioner. And I think we should try this idea. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. We definitely need to do something there. For sure. And I know that Chris and I have spoken before. There's plans of rerouting traffic, having the entrance kind of remodified there. So maybe with the parking and that, in a longer term type of solution, that combination could work out. But we definitely have to.
Jennifer. Thanks, Alex. Jennifer.
My comments have been largely summarized by Alex. So I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah. Okay, so I see Rabbi Kaler says, can La Perla Park be for residents only? No, because it's a deal we have with the county. And then Svetlana said that's very bad for residents who can't afford to bring their kids to the beach. Like we said, it's really the parking there isn't typically used by residents. But the good news is Chris has been working with the DOT, and we think we have the right of way on the east end of Gateway Park, which might be able to provide a similar amount of parking as Pier Park, which we would then transfer from Pier Park to that. And to Commissioner Golden's point, a longer term solution. And then we could then finally reconfigure that parking lot for pickup and drop off. But truthfully, I agree with the vice mayor. I mean, I think that we may create a little bit of a deterrent in the meantime, by going from there. And Svetlana, we don't have a bigger parking lot on the beach, unfortunately. And the truth is, we've been trying to move the parking lot out of the beach. It's just been difficult to find solutions. We had a lot of different solutions proposed over the years, and I think Chris has finally come up with one that might work, which is this DOT right away on the the DOT area on the east end of Gateway Park. So we're looking at that, and we're going to try to do that. And then if we got that, because the other big issue is that we have a restaurant on the pier that pays rent. And when we take away all the parking from Pier Park, then the restaurant doesn't have parking. So you need parking within some reasonable proximity of that restaurant in order to not hammer the restaurant, because in the restaurant's lease, there's a parking requirement. So it's not just what we get to do and the county issue. But so like I said, I'm kind of, I'm in agreement with the vice mayor on this one. I think it might be, it might just mitigate it a little bit if it was a little more expensive. Listen, the DOT on the traffic lane, on rush hour, it's $12 or $10.50. And when it's not, when it's not busy, it's 50 cents, on the speed, I call it the speed lane, on 95. So clearly, dollars during different times matters to people, because I think the state's done a lot of studies on, on what deters, people from, using the speed lane and not using the speed lane and what have you. So, so I think, I think it's worth looking into. I don't think it's worth, debating for 2 hours, but I think it's worth looking into. So, any final comments?
Can I make a motion then?
Go ahead. Vice Mayor.
Yes.
This is a discussion item. So can you just take it to staff? It's not really, I think you realize before, you got four of your 5 colleagues that agree. It's a staff item. It's not something that we,
Ed was already able to draft an ordinance attached to it if we were in agreement. Because it doesn't.
Oh, you mean a
I
motion?
thought we weren't allowed to. I
Yeah,
thought we had the Dana Goldman ordinance that said you can't introduce an ordinance on the first time around.
Go easy.
Because
Vice Mayor,
let's
bring it to the next.
let's,
Dana,
I mean?
Dana, I'm not disagreeing with you. Listen, just put it on the next meeting then. Okay, if you want it in the form of a reso for a consideration, just put it on the next meeting. I thought that it was on there just for the discussion of the reso. I didn't think it was on there to get passed.
Just because I've been working with Ed and Chris on this, so it can't be a resolution. It has to be an ordinance. And that's.
But so we have to have an ordinance to raise our parking fees. Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, those fees are set out in the ordinance for each of those parking lots.
Yeah, nothing's ever easy.
Yeah, okay. I know. And so it should go on for first reading next meeting.
Yeah, so just put it on for first reading next meeting, Vice Mayor. But I think you got your, I think you got your support. I think you were taking the temperature for support. So.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. And I hope that the new board of La Perla is able to appreciate it all. They have a very good attitude about working with the city and with Newport. And I think we're going to be able to help them and also mitigate a lot of the traffic that we've seen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Frankly, over the years, I think La Perla, given the situation they're in, they've been incredibly graceful. They've been incredibly graceful. They've had a very difficult situation. It's unfortunate because we didn't create the situation. But they've been, they've worked with us over the years. I got a lot of good friends there, and I think that, and I understand the new board has been, very, very, collaborative in terms of addressing these issues. But I do think I felt for years the ultimate solution is to move the parking out of there. If we can find we got to find a good solution. So, okay, that is it. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Wait, you have Jody and Jerry. You have.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that, Jody and Jerry. I know Jody gets mad at me when I miss them. I'm sorry. I know. All right, Jody.
Sorry, Mayor, give me 1 second. And we also have the citizens forum that we have to get to.
Okay, we have citizens forum. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Jerry or Jody, go ahead.
Yes, hi, Jerry Joseph. So, you were talking about injury to the Pier restaurant.
Jerry, we can hardly hear you. Can you get closer to the phone?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you, Jerry. Go ahead.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
About the Pier restaurant, don't you think raising the parking is going to injure the restaurant?
The restaurant can probably help them with the parking if they want to. If you go to the restaurant, you say you parked in the lot. So I think the restaurant could mitigate that with their patrons if they want to.
But there aren't that many spots there, Bud, to begin with. And
yeah, I know.
I just want to add that La Perla has offered to give parking spots within their garage to the restaurant. They want to work.
Oh,
with
that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But it's not currently.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one, Jerry, this has got no good outcomes, I can tell you. We've been wrestling with this. I mean, I've been at it for 15 years. You know, the one thing I did get done was the original deal with the commission, believe it or not, had a bunch of public parking spots in the La Perla garage that the public could never use. But technically, the public had the right to pull up and go into their private garage and park to go to the beach. Mm-hmm. And it was just a cluster from the original, from these original approvals that was long before any of our times. So at the very least, what we were able to do was La Perla at one point bought the spots from the city, at market value, and at least that got that off the plate. And then ultimately this parking lot's been just a mess ever since. And so, over the years, we've just been trying to find a solution to transfer those spots and then just have like a turnaround. We have a great plan that got engineered. We have a really nice plan that you could have a beach drop off, where people could pull in, La Perla people could pull in and not get blocked by the beach drop off. And then you would end up parking, across the street. So,
actually,
that's
Pier Restaurant is one of the more pleasant places in the city. And
I completely agree.
It's difficult to give them business.
I know. We go there all the time. Frankly, we walk there, obviously, because we live across the street. But we go there, and I agree. I mean, I think we want to do everything we can to keep them in business. So I completely, I'm with you on that. I do think Chris's solution about the east end of Gateway is got legs, and this could finally be something that's that might mop up that whole thing. So we'll see. But thanks, Jerry.
Instead of tennis courts.
Yeah, instead of tennis courts. Sorry, Jerry.
Okay, thanks.
See, everybody wants everything, Jerry. Everybody wants everything. So yeah. Okay. Who else do we have, Mauricio?
We just have. I'm sorry. We just have one more public speaker card, which is for the Citizens Forum. This is from Patrick Dunn. Address is 317 191st Terrace. His comment is, I was advised multiple buildings will be erected near our elementary school, and the permanent closure of 185th Street will take place with easy development.
I can't hear. Mauricio, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Is that better? Very low. Everyone else can hear me or not?
No, there's a lot of feedback.
Like white noise.
Alex, can you go on mute? Everybody go on mute so Mauricio's.
Is that better? Okay, so I'll start again. Patrick Dunn, his address is 317 191st Terrace. It says, I was advised multiple buildings will be erected near our elementary school, and a permanent closure of 185th Street will take place to appease a developer. Already subject to an imbalanced load on our municipal services, traffic, storm, drainage, water supply, sewage, and electricity will worsen as we continue overdeveloping our city. I see no benefit any of these monstrosities have offered to our quality of life. They've undermined the character, livability, social fabric of our city, are detrimental to our environment and public health. You're aware of my sentiments, advisors of yours tonight.
Okay, so Patrick, just to be clear, anybody can float anything by the step. Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. So, I thought you said I was muted.
That's me.
Okay. Just to be clear, anybody can float anything by the city. So, what happens a lot of times is, and quite frankly, most every project that's ever been built has gone through multiple iterations before it finally sees the light of day. And so one of the developers that owns the land adjacent to Golden Shores has started to float a site plan through the city. None of us have commented on it. The staff, I don't even know if it meets I don't even know if it meets zoning code, whatever. But it doesn't stop them from submitting something. It just, they start with something, it goes to staff, and then, the question is, will it be as of right? Won't it be as of right? When it gets to, so the staff will work with them on that. So the point is that I know there's been like an uproar in Golden Shores because, Desert's been starting to, float some plans. But frankly, I saw one plan about a year and a half ago. That's the last I've seen. So the fact is that, they're going to go through a lengthy process. Staff's going to tell them, if they're as of right or not as of right. And if they're not as of right, then obviously they've got to, come back before everybody and say, okay, here's why we think that we deserve this, and I think in the current sentiment, it's very, very difficult to get a project approved that's not as of right. And there's even, because of what we discovered in the town center district, there's a lot of ambiguity now over what the zoning code really says or doesn't say that the staff is working on sorting out. So I guess what I would say to Patrick is, you wanted our feelings, we hear you. But just to be clear, we can't stop people from submitting things when they own land. That it doesn't work that way. They have the right to submit anything. What happens is then it's a lengthy process. So I would say that I wouldn't get, I would say that when it gets more refined and it gets down the road further, that's when I think, we would start to weigh in, or the public can start to weigh in, when it gets through staff. Does anybody have anything to add to that? So, okay. Mauricio, anything else on citizens forum or anybody? That's it? Okay. 9:50. I didn't go to a quiet meeting tonight, but I appreciate everybody's participation, and I appreciate the commission. I appreciate the discussion.
Sorry, but
Jennifer
there's another
Viscara.
comment. There's another comment. I'm seeing a new comment.
Yeah. Okay. It's on the. Okay. Ross Koget, 231 174th Street. My question is related to beach access. I noticed that many condos and hotels north of 174th Street spread chase lounges and umbrellas wide rope off beach like they own it. My question is the beach public access. Can beachgoers set up anywhere they like? We had a robust discussion on this about 2 hours ago when we passed an ordinance, or we passed a, I think it was an ordinance that basically creates a much onerous set of rules of enforcement capability for staff. So to your question, they don't own the beach. The beach is public access, and beachgoers can almost set up anywhere they like. They can't set up, right up against a condo where they might own the land, but the beach pretty much is open to everybody. And what I would suggest is, if tomorrow the meeting will be posted online, and you can go and watch that item. Just go and watch the item regarding the beach chairs, because we had a pretty robust discussion earlier in the evening. Okay. Anything else? Okay, everybody. I appreciate the discussion with everybody, and I think we have good discussion. So I do appreciate it. I know sometimes it looks like we're mixing it up maybe more than we are, but I do think everybody. Everybody's, coming from the right place with their opinions, and that's what matters. So with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.